Launch ready for WWE Aftershock in 3, 2, 1. World Wrestling Entertainment Discussion is live. Cue host Owen Finch.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to WWE Aftershock. This is like season 3. I don't even, as you know, Steve, from when we used to do the show, I would like never know what the episode like title or like number would be. I always like would just tell people to read the title.
Just like the amount of nicknames I have, we just don't know.
We just don't know.
But you know something? If I may, I'm going to introduce you today because there's only one nickname that matters, ladies and gentlemen. That is your current reigning defending Aftershock champion, Owen the Birdman Finch.
Yeah. Usually I didn't have like a transitional championship reign. Usually I was the Sasha Banks of the show until, you know, where I would always win the belt and then lose it at the next predictions league. So, actually, no, I think I defended it a few times. I remember in 2018. Because I remember I was like the interim champion when John went away, and then
yeah, I would say you've gone from the Sasha Banks to the Mercedes Moné of Aftershock, but I'm trying not to insult you.
Yeah, I'd rather not be known as that. So, but it's been good. I got a good title defense in there. Actually, because we're covering Backlash, when we get to that match, Chris and I were going to screw you over, and we'll get to the reason, because there's a certain prediction that you did that we were like, okay, it has to specifically happen this way or you don't win, and you know what we're going to talk about. But yeah, I didn't get to introduce you because you introduced me. Again, you just have so many nicknames: Steve Steiner, Smoke Slayer, Ronald Trump. I know you don't like to go by that one nowadays, but that was a nickname. Well, Vince McMahon. I know, again, you don't want to like to go by that one. Parachute Man #1. I know all the nicknames are a little dated. Like you can't. Like, there's 2 of them you can't even like use anymore. But you know.
Yep. We still don't know who Parachute Man #2 is. I've been on the lookout for him, but he's been absent recently.
Maybe he's hanging out with.
He said it's because it hasn't rained a lot.
Yeah. Maybe. Maybe he's hanging out with El Grande Americano. So
yes. Also, we don't know who that is.
Chris keeps trying to say he knows who that is, but he's just reaching. So, did I miss any nicknames? I probably did, but like I feel like I said Steve Steiner because that's the big one.
We'll just roll Steve Steiner for today.
Okay, I know. I always try to like get all the nicknames.
As always, special guest Kat Steiner in the house.
Yep. But yeah, how you doing today? You know, you actually haven't been on in a while, so.
Yeah, busy with work as per the usual. I think story of everybody's life. But Kat Snyder's currently trying to attack me.
That's not good.
She's in a play mood, and her idea of play is, let's see if I can swipe at Steve's legs.
Ooh, so she's one of those cats that scratches. You have to wear pants pretty much when you do around this cat.
Oh yeah, if you're not wearing pants and you're sitting down, or you need a blanket on you at all times, which actually I got a hoodie right now and I'm literally just going to sit with this thing over my legs so my cat has a harder time attacking me.
And what I mean by pants, I mean like you're wearing shorts or something. I want to make sure like...
Yeah, oh yeah, no, didn't you know, folks, we actually don't wear pants here at the Aftershock Corner. We don't believe in them.
Actually, Chris doesn't.
Hey, Shawn Michaels didn't believe in pants during his first photo shoot with the world title.
Yeah, that's true.
Now that Mandy Rose.
Did you ever, because I know you didn't see that, did you see on Instagram, like, during WWE World Week, they had that setup, like, and he went and, like, redid that setup, like, nowadays and everything like that, like, of his photo shoot and everything like that? He did it, like, in today's. Yeah. That was pretty funny. Yeah. I mean, obviously, he didn't wear the same outfit because he's an executive now, he can't be doing that stuff, but, it's pretty funny. But yeah, this video, you know, just to kind of peel the curtain back, was supposed to be LFG. We were supposed to do LFG last week, but then last minute you couldn't do it. And then Chris and I have been trying to make plans to do this, but Chris's work schedule and stuff's been busy. And every time, the days that we've had free, I've had family obligations, and if I'm not going to say what it is here because I'm not going to say it worldwide, but
No, of course not.
But Steve, you know behind the scenes what that's about. So when those obligations come up, I mean, it's not really obligations. It's more like I want to go to these obligations. So and then today was gonna be LFG, and then we haven't done Aftershock yet, and I gave you the option of do you want to do LFG or Aftershock, and you chose Aftershock. So what made you choose Aftershock? Obviously, because I like to know why people choose the things that they chose.
It's the freshest thing in my mind. I've been trying to convince myself to rewatch some LFG, and I just haven't done it.
That's fair. It's a bit.
I watched the highlights because they were just. I'll just give you a little take on LFG. They were just. It was a show with good moments, but for the most part, it just kind of dragged a little bit.
Especially too when there was some of those weeks because they did 2 episodes in like the same week, and you definitely can't watch that show back to back because it drags when you watch it back to back. But but
obviously we'll be able to talk about some of it based on NXT.
Yep. But yeah, let's just start talking about the shows. We haven't done the shows in a little bit, so we're gonna kind of keep it brief. We're gonna review the shows, but obviously you're not gonna get the typical long-winded reviews. It's just gonna mainly be us keeping it brief.
Yep.
I kind of try to have us where we're both gonna do a good bulk of the talking. I didn't make notes for these shows because some of it was after I was working. I didn't feel like making notes. One of them Chris was supposed to do the notes for, but he's not here. But before we even cover any of these shows, we've had an unfortunate passing that's happened.
Yeah, we have.
He died the day after Backlash, and that's Sabu. Obviously, this was very shocking because obviously he had been wrestling, I think, pretty recently and everything like that. Was it GC? Yeah, he wrestled at. Well, I know he wrestled at GCW during like WrestleMania weekend and everything like that. But wasn't he supposed to? Didn't he wrestle again like? I don't think for GCW, but he wrestled for like another promotion like that same weekend.
But I read, but it's kind of gone around the wrestling world now that whatever his last match was, I guess they were saying backstage he was pretty lethargic, and then they hopped him up on something.
Okay.
People really haven't specified whatever that was yet, and then he went out there and had his match, and whatever happened, obviously.
Yeah. Obviously, a very tragic death. He was 60 when he died. And everyone's been paying tribute to him very well. WWE did a nice tribute for him on Raw. Not just like the in memory of, but like Cole and McAfee said something, and like they showed photos of him. Taz did a really good tribute for him on AEW Dynamite that same week. I think Taz and OVD did a podcast. I don't think the whole podcast was about him, but like they did like a segment where they dedicated thing for him. TNA, I believe, did something for him. But yeah, obviously memories I have of Sabu, is obviously the fact that he was just willing to really put his body on the line for the fans and everything like that. Obviously his run in the WWE ECW. It was what it was. I always remember his match with John Cena at Vengeance 2006. The match he had with the Big Show at SummerSlam 2006 for the ECW World Championship. The fact that, he got to wrestle WrestleMania, which was pretty cool for him, at WrestleMania 23. And then, he got to do some cool stuff. I remember One Night Stand 07. I think he teamed up with Sandman and CM Punk. Or do I have that wrong? I don't think it was. Actually, he wasn't in that match. It was Punk Sandman. I remember because they had like a tables match there. That was like kind of when the New Breed was a thing. I don't think he was in that match, so that was my mistake. Obviously, I just remember that all the death-defying stuff he did was very scary. I might have this one too. I'm pretty sure he's infamous to having some barbed wire match where like. He ran through and went neck first, like through the ropes or whatever.
That was his last match.
He's in ECW.
He did in ECW, and that also happened in his last match.
Okay.
So.
And then TNA, obviously had a run there where he, faced Douglas Williams for the I think it was the X Division or it was the television title. I don't remember which title it was, but they had a match. He was part of EV2. Him and LVD got to have one last match together. He's just been a lot of death-defying stuff. I know behind the scenes and stuff, we made jokes because obviously he had a tendency to mess up all of his moves. But I thought, he fit the time. He really stood out, obviously, because and obviously the big call, his nickname, Joey Styles, the death-defying homicidal genocide. Was it genocidal? I always
homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, death-defying maniac.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like it's definitely a big loss to have in the wrestling business. But yeah, I mean, you were kind of watching more so than I was at that time, and you've seen Sabu wrestle. Actually, as I say, you've seen. Well, you were supposed to see Sabu wrestle a few times, but I know you don't.
That never came to fruition.
Yeah, I don't.
What happened was just indie shows in the town of Rockland where Sabu was advertised, and then he just never showed up.
I know. I feel like I don't want to speak ill will of the dead, so it's like I
don't either. But yeah, he never showed up to his indie shows in Rockland.
But yeah, anything you want to say about Sabu?
I did see him wrestle live once though. SummerSlam 2006.
Oh
in Boston.
Yeah, that's right.
Against the Big Show, a match that people have panned, but I thought for the longest time I was like, oh, maybe because I saw it live, I'm biased. And I watched it back. I'm like, no, it's still a good match. I think people just like to bitch and moan about anything the Big Show did with the ECW title, but that's on him. I think Sabu got a good match out of him. The only downside to that whole thing was the ending. It was just choke slam through the table, and that was it. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Sabu can take way more than that before a pinfall comes. Like, I don't mind him losing it, but I did see something posted. It was an interview Sabu did shortly before he passed away where they asked him about what do you think of Cena's heel turn. He actually spoke really highly of Cena, saying that during his WWE run, that was his favorite person, ECW or WWE personnel that he worked with.
That's interesting, too. You wouldn't think that.
He said he thought, he was very willing to make sure Sabu could get in his ECW offense. He made sure to kind of put, he would call spots that when they were going to do more grounded WWE stuff and be like, all right, but I want you to look strong here so I look like surprised that you can actually wrestle, and then it puts people off their toes and makes them remember, oh yeah, Sabu can actually go to work if he needs to instead of just doing extreme stuff.
Yeah.
So they talk about how Cena made him look really good, how he was always very professional with him, I guess.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what, the thing is, Cena doesn't have to wrestle like at a premier level every week. But when he found out he was working with him, he was very humble to him. He was like, well, I'm pretty sure we're not going to wrestle each other again, so I'm going to give you everything.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it was good to hear Sabu praising Cena like that. Good to hear that he really took their feud seriously. And that I always remember Sabu from me, WWE, ECW, the early years of it, which every time he was on screen, it was great, I thought. I remember very fondly ECW One Night Stand 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Him versus Rey Mysterio. Be like, as a kid, I'm like, ooh, Rey Mysterio? This crowd sucks. And now I'm 28, I'm like, you know what? This crowd still sucks. Don't you dare boo Rey Mysterio.
And
he was an ECW original too, so lighten up on him.
I know. It was weird.
I think he came out as Rey Mysterio Jr. that night too.
Yeah, he did.
And then yeah, it was funny. I remember the ending to that match too, the DDT through the table, which Sabu didn't like because he was like, come on, this is more of an ECW show, and I've wrestled Ray, he's wrestled me. We can both, story-wise and physically get up from that.
Yeah, but they definitely could have.
But they can both wrestle hurt for the rest of the match.
Yeah, they totally could have.
But obviously, they probably went the more WWE route where they sold it as Sabu was old and Ray was out of touch with his ECW roots, which is why I took them both out.
Yeah.
But it was still good. Sabu will be missed. I hope if his estate wants it, and if anything changed within his last couple of years of life, maybe he does go into the Hall of Fame one day. But that's his estate's decision now.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, now that we kind of done that, let's talk about the on-screen product of the WWE shows that's been taking place. We've had a lot of shows happen in the past few weeks. We'll start with Backlash. We haven't covered Backlash yet. Again, I said I would kind of mainly cover it since it's happened, a lot soon. It happened so long ago and everything like that. And we have no notes, and I can just memorize the stuff sometimes. I went watching at Chris's house. One thing we want to talk about is the countdown show did not need to be 2 hours. That was way too long. And you could definitely tell they were really struggling to fill time with this countdown show because like an hour into it, they had already talked about all the matches. You only had to talk about like one match left. And then they're like, what are they going to do? Just talk about the main event for an hour? And you can tell it's bad because they filled time on the countdown show they showed like Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles from Backlash France last year like 3 times. And then like they decided it was...
Yeah. Let me tell you why I hate kickoff shows. It's one specific thing that really just rubs me the wrong way. And that is when they get toward the end, obviously, they're like, all right, here's the first match of the night, and they run down the card. It's not so much the order of the matches, though I always did enjoy not knowing what order things were going to be in, except for the main event. So it's like, you know how it's going to end, but other than that,
yeah,
you're going to see whatever's going to happen whenever it's going to happen. The thing I hate is they show all the promo packages on the pre-show. Like, and I say to myself, like, man, if they had this back in 2001 and they showed that my way on the pre-show instead of right before the match, that would have, it'd still be a great video package, but it ruins the whole thing. Same thing would have gone for Daniel Bryan's monster video package at WrestleMania 30. Like, stop showing them on the pre-show.
Well, I think they do that too because they have to kind of do that now because if you don't have Peacock Premium, you don't get the video. You get the ads. You don't get the video package. So that's why they have to show them on the pre-show.
You know what? That's fine. Like that's an incentive to buy Peacock Premium. Peacock should put the pressure on WWE. Like, hey, throw us a bone here.
That's true. But yeah, another thing they did to fill the time too was they randomly showed like a video package talking about the history of WWE video games, which was like it was a cool video package, but it's like yeah, you're clearly filling time here if you're just showing video packages of the history of WWE video games. But whatever.
I've thought for a while that we don't need video packages to hype up. WWE. Oh, sorry, not video packages. No, we definitely need those. Those are good.
I like those.
Pre-shows, kickoff shows, the whole 9 yards. I don't think we need them anymore.
No, I don't think so.
I think we're in a world right now where. Yeah, no, I think we're in a world now where you have enough people who stream and do, live streams on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, you name it, that are going to say, hey, I'm here at WWE Backlash, and they're going to give you their thoughts that I think WWE would do better doing like the day before kickoff shows they've been doing. Those are fine. I like those. Where they do like the final face-offs, like UFC style. Those I enjoy, but I mean, like, right before the show, we don't need anything.
Especially too, because like you said,
we don't need kickoff matches or pre-show matches anymore. If you want to do that, then how about start the show a half hour early so you can just put it all on one card? Might as well.
Yeah, I mean they don't do matches on the countdown shows anymore. But
the post shows are always way better than the pre-show.
Oh yeah, some people love them, some people hate them. But I think it's bad with the countdown show too, because they run down the card like 4 times on the countdown show each time. It's like so we know the card at this point. We watch the product. So, but going through the actual show itself, it started off with the United States Championship match. It was Jacob Fatu defending against Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, and LA Knight. It was kind of obviously 2 WrestleMania rematches kind of done in one, and they kind of mainly kept it towards LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu and they kind of did this to continue Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre's feud. But they did some cool stuff where they intermingled the match and everything like that. And it was a really good hoss fight because, all these men, as Big E would say, big men slapping meat. And, I enjoyed how Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre took each other out of the match, with Damian Priest doing the South of Heaven chokeslam off of the equipment box case through the tables. And then it was down to LA Knight and Jacob Fatu. And then who we now know as is JC Mateo showed up out of nowhere. And this was really cool because this is what I like about Lee Fitton as the new production guy now. You didn't really see it. You only really saw it through JC Mateo's perspective. It happened very quickly, and he just destroyed LA Knight. And Jacob Fatu obviously didn't know about this. He after JC Mateo destroyed LA Knight, he kind of gave Solo Sikoa and JC Mateo a look, not only of concern, but that he didn't really know what was going on, and then he kind of just finished off LA Knight. And it seems Solo Sikoa is planning something, but Jacob Fatu is kind of, left in the dust. The U.S. title opener was fantastic. I gave it 4.25 stars. I really liked it, especially for the debut of JC Mateo. How'd you feel about the U.S. title opener at Backlash? I know it's been a few weeks, so you can't really give you. I
thought it was a good match. I thought the Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre stuff was really good, and it definitely warranted another rematch between the two down the line, which we'll get to.
Yep.
As for the rest of it, it was straightforward. I don't think there's any outside of JC Mateo, the former Jeff Cobb, debuting. I think a lot of us could have seen that this is a foregone conclusion that there was not going to be a title change.
Yeah. How do you feel about his new ring name? Because some people are mixed on it. I don't really mind the new ring name.
I kind of see it the same way I see JD McDonough. JD, Jordan Devlin, JC, Jeff Cobb. So they're there.
Yeah.
But it's just a little different. So it's not terrible.
Yeah, it's solid. And then we had the next match. It was the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. It was Lyra Valkyria defending against Becky Lynch. I thought this was solid. I think they struggled to kind of get the crowd into it because it kicked off right after that hot opener. But as the match went along, the crowd started to get into it more and everything like that. They did the bit where Becky exposed the buckle. And it never really played into the match. Becky kind of kept trying to use it, and then eventually Lyra rolled her up for the win. But it really wasn't much of a win because then Becky still kicked the crap out of her afterwards and put her in the disarmor for a long-ass time. And this was solid. I gave this probably 3 stars when it happened. I liked this. I think I liked the NXT match more, but I think the crowd was kind of more into that one. It kicked off after a hot opener, but this was good. I didn't really mind Lyra winning. I think this is good for her. I think ever since Becky's come back, it seems like they finally, and obviously because Mania season's over and everything like that, I feel like they can kind of finally start to put some prestige onto the Women's Intercontinental Championship, because obviously that kind of took a little bit of a back seat because Lyra really didn't have anyone to work with, and WrestleMania stuff usually Vince kind of take a back seat, and that's that kind of happened with the Women's IC title. But now that all the people that now that Mania's over, we don't have some of the people that would be there typically, so they kind of have to put some stock into the Women's IC title, and this is good stuff. And yeah, I liked how this feud continued and everything like that. So what'd you think of this?
I was a fan of it. I enjoyed watching the match. I was shocked that Lyra was coming up victorious, though. I don't think anyone saw that coming.
Yeah.
It happened, and I'm pretty sure everyone predicted it wrong when we did our predictions. But
we did.
I remember just really? I mean, I like Lyra, and Becky's been a good heel because every week I've been like, man, what a bitch. But that's such as wrestling. But watching Lyra win, I was really shocked, and I'm guessing they just don't really have anyone else lined up right now to face Lyra. So they're like, hey, guess what? You win tonight. Becky maybe a win down the road because I just don't see Lyra hold on to the belt much longer.
Right. Because then, I'm a guy that asks, well, then what? If Lyra keeps the belt off Becky, then what? I don't really think there's anything that Lyra can really do as champion after that. So,
yeah.
Then we have the men's Intercontinental Championship match. It was Dominic Mysterio versus Penta. I think you know where I'm going with this. This is we talked about this off camera. I think I don't exactly remember. But this is the match where you gave a very specific prediction where you predicted that Penta was going to win by disqualification. So I think Chris and I both picked Dom. So we're like, okay, if Steve gets this right and Penta just wins, we should say well, he didn't win by the way you said, he didn't win by disqualification. So technically that's not a point for you. We were gonna see if we were gonna pull that on you and see what you would have said, but obviously you don't have to deal with that now.
You know what I would have said? I would have said fine, but that gives me the equivalent of a Money in the Bank, which means I get to cash in whatever the hell I want for any amount of predictions.
Well, good.
I would have waited for like a match that could have gone either way on Raw, and been like, I'm cashing in now. Let's hope this works. It's basically flipping a coin. So the hell with it.
You could have used it this week on NXT, which we'll get to, because no one saw that coming at the end.
I know what you're talking about. No, because I would no.
But we'll get to that. Yeah. So I
just hope the rumors about where that's going is true.
But I thought this was very good. Penta and Dom, they have really good chemistry with each other. I feel like we're starting to kind of see Dom start to wrestle a little bit more, because obviously his whole thing is that he's been kind of just heel heat and everything like that. So it's kind of good that we're starting to see Dom kind of start to wrestle a little bit more.
Yeah, he's been on fire recently, character-wise and wrestling-wise. Definitely, he's starting to turn face, because he himself isn't really cheating anymore. The Judgment Day is doing all the run-ins, but Dom's not the one swinging a chair anymore.
Right. And they made Penta look really strong. At the end, he fought off all the members of the Judgment Day, but then he couldn't fight back against El Grande Americano, because obviously El Grande Americano has an issue with Penta, because he's picking on his biggest fan in Chad Gable and everything like that. So, and Michael Cole's trying to throw out accusations in there that he had a plate in his mask, but he's just, I don't understand why he's throwing those accusations out there.
Michael Cole's just jealous that he could never be a legend that El Grande Americano is.
Right.
El Grande Americano's a hero. I remember reading about that time Haku said he was going to beat up Hulk Hogan, and then El Grande Americano popped up and knocked him out.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, he was around back in the 80s. He's eternal. He's that good.
And then, but this was a good way to protect Penta in defeat. What I thought it was going to lead to was El Grande Americano versus Penta Worlds Collide, which it still could, because Money in the Bank and that show are both in the same, not the same place, but they're in the same state and everything like that. So they could have Penta pull wrestle on both shows. I think but then again, it's gonna be tough though, because you don't want him wrestling a match like that, then wrestling a ladder match late in the show, because then that's asking for an injury right there, type of thing. Obviously, we're starting to get kind of the fans that are a little upset that Penta went to WWE, because obviously after this, everyone was laughing, being like, Penta went from having 5-star match with Kenny Omega to losing to Dominic Mysterio on television, type of thing. So it's just
5-star matches that meant nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I think
they weren't 5-star matches. They were good. They were solid, but the thing is, AEW, while they give you a good product in person, and you'll probably get, at least one 4-star match out of the whole night if you go to a show, WWE has it made, because it's not that they're putting on a worse product because they're worse. It's they're intentionally hold back on Raw, hold back on SmackDown. Don't go completely all out at this PLE, and then once you get to a SummerSlam or WrestleMania, it's okay, now you don't hold back. You don't worry if your body crashes on you the next day, because this is it. But yeah, how'd you feel about the men's IC title match? I think I gave that match 3 3/4. It's very good. Yeah, I enjoyed the IC title match. I mean, I was happy to see Dom win. I'm really enjoying this new run that he's gone on so far. Very interested to see where it will go, especially with a new addition to the puzzle that we'll get to on Raw.
Yeah. And then it was Pat McAfee versus Gunther. This is exactly what it should have been. I thought this was excellent, where Gunther just kind of destroyed Pat McAfee, and Pat McAfee got some hope spots in there. They did a really good bit with Michael Cole. And throughout the night on the Countdown show, and then before this match, Michael Cole kept mentioning that he was going to... this was the first time in his career that he was going to be, like, completely biased and not really call the match down the middle.
Yeah, and Wade Barrett said, like, yeah, I'm going to try not to be, but I'm going to be.
Chris and I point out, though, I mean, Cole was... it's not the first time Cole's done this, because Cole did this a lot when he was a heel, so I don't know what he was talking about there. But, yeah, you know, I thought this was very enjoyable. The Bobby Heenan spot they did with Cole was very enjoyable and really... was a really good near fall right there. And then Gunther making Pat McAfee pass out, then afterwards showing him respect, I thought was a very nice touch. You could have probably had Goldberg come out here and set that up, but I actually kind of like the fact that they held off on that, because I feel like this was kind of more Pat McAfee's moment. I feel like Goldberg coming out would have taken away from that. And as we see, I think a lot of people think Gunther was going to go face because he did that to Pat McAfee, but it doesn't seem like that's the case, because obviously he's been on the shows lately, and he's still the same Gunther, but I feel like, you know, that's one thing I do like about Triple H's booking is while they're still heels, the heels will show respect to the baby faces. And that was definitely a good time to do that. And yeah, I really enjoyed this, you know. I thought this was Pat McAfee probably could have, you know, given more to Gunther, but I feel like this was also something that Gunther needed, because again, Gunther tapping out didn't hurt him in the long run or anything like that, but, you know, obviously Gunther kind of needed a little bit of a rebound because, you know, I know I sound like I'm doing a double negative here, because I said it didn't hurt him, but then I'm about to say, well, Gunther, it just would have made weird, but Gunther looked bad here, and then after tapping out, so I feel like this was a good rebound for Gunther type of thing.
Yeah, agreed. No, it was a match Gunther couldn't realistically lose single-handedly. I mean, that spot where Cole grabbed the ankles, the Bobby Heenan spot, that could have been it, but then the feud would have been prolonged way longer than it would have to be.
Right.
But no, I was, you know, they're definitely slowly but surely going to turn Gunther into a face, I think.
Yeah, I feel like too. He's
just based on the fact that he didn't decide to beat him down after the match. It was just like, okay, you know, you did a good job. Hats off to you, and then left.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Goldberg being maybe the last piece of that puzzle for him to turn to a face.
Yeah, I like that. I'll probably give this match probably 4.5 stars. It's not a 4.5 star match in terms of like the moves or anything like that, but just the emotion and just how this match was put together. Thought it was excellent. Yeah. So, and then I'm trying to think, is that 6 matches? Because I know the last match was the main event. I can't think of any other match that was before this or after this, because I think. Yeah, that's like 5 to 6 matches right there. So then it was the WWE Championship match. It was John Cena defending against Randy Orton. Yeah, I like this. You know, I really wasn't sure how this match was going to be, because I thought WrestleMania with Cody and Cena was very bad. And it was like, if this match isn't good, it's going to be a long road to John Cena's retirement, because, you know, as we've talked about at the Netflix Raw episode, Cena's in-ring work, obviously because he doesn't wrestle all the time and he's getting older now and he doesn't, you know, do the same stuff. It was kind of slipping a little bit. He looked good that brief time he was on doing the strikes and everything like that, but then, you know, he hasn't really wrestled full time, and he was still only really wrestling tag matches. Now he's going to be mainly wrestling one-on-one matches and things like that. And the Cody match, I don't think really did a lot of favors, because that was his first one-on-one match he's had since the solo match. And now it was interesting to see how they were going to work. And I had some hope, obviously, because obviously Orton and Cena have worked together a lot and they have good chemistry. And the fact that, you know, now Orton was the babyface and Cena was the heel for the first time since they feuded on the main roster and everything like that. And Yeah, this match ended up being very good. I did kind of talk about this with Chris. I wondered how much of this was smoke and mirrors, because most of the match was Randy Orton pretty much just kicking Cena's ass. I don't think really Cena really did much offense in this match. It was mainly just his 5 moves of doom. I think he did like a sleeper and maybe a suplex at one point. Randy Orton just pretty much absolutely destroyed Cena. And Orton had the match won on a handful of times, but then there was a bunch of ref bumps. Eventually, Randy Orton just went on a rampage and KO Nick Aldis again, which, that match, I feel like that's going to be a match at some point. And as someone posted online, he also KO'd the entire cruiserweight division from 2007, which was pretty funny. And then he was about to punt Cena, but then R-Truth stopped him and was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he KO'd Truth, and then this allowed Cena to gain the advantage. He low blowed Orton, and then he smacked him off the skull with the championship. And Cena retained. Afterwards, he had his music get cut off, and he didn't even have his music play afterwards. I thought this match was very good. I'm going to give it like 3 3/4 stars. It was it really exceeded my expectations. I really wasn't sure what this was going to be like. Still kind of hard to tell if Cena still has it type of thing. I think he's still good, obviously, but this was definitely this match I felt like definitely was used to hide some of Cena's weaknesses. And yeah, I still think Cena's run as a heel has been fine. Obviously, it's hit or miss. It depends on the opponent and depends on the promo that he cuts. But it's been fine. It's been fairly fine. I don't think they've really, have cap. I think it's still been good, but I think everyone had bigger expectations, especially with the levels of his turn and everything like that. And obviously, I've talked about this with Chris on a recent Aftershock. The Rock kind of ruined this heel turn a little bit. So, actually, I can't even say a little bit, a lot of it, because but that's whatever. But what did you think of the main event of Backlash and everything like that?
I thought it was very good, very entertained by it. Saw the ending coming where Cena was going to cheat to win, obviously. I think everyone saw that coming. That didn't catch anybody by surprise. The road to getting there, I don't think anybody could have predicted with R-Truth getting in there.
Yep.
I've heard the argument. I'll talk about the match first. Match itself was great. I thought the in-ring action was good. I thought those two, you can say they're getting older, but they still pushed it. And they still gave everyone a really good show. I definitely don't think that's the last match of theirs, though. I think you have to have one more where you get a real conclusive ending to it.
Yeah.
Instead of a cheap finish. Because I was saying to myself the other day, because I've seen the argument, has Cena's heel run been a dud? And I don't like to go on long-winded answers anymore. I just like to give a yes or no answer. I was like, yeah, it has been. It hasn't been as great as it could be. And I've seen just the arguments for it a week. Oh, he said he's going to ruin wrestling. That's why it's bad. Yeah. So I'm going to go to the bathroom, and you know what? I'm not going to flush. It's going to stink. But it's okay, because I just said it's going to stink. No, that's fucking disgusting. Just the way Cena's title reigns and his whole heel run has been awful. All right? Just because you say something's going to be bad and you're being consistent isn't a good thing. Bad people do bad things. Oh, but it's consistent. So are they good people? No, they're still bad people. The argument for it is just so weak. His heel run's been crap. His title run's been crap. I hope he doesn't hold the title and stay heel to the very end, because I hope I'm not the only one that says this. If he is a bad guy to the end, then the night after is like, I'm sorry, I'm a good guy now. Fuck you. No. I'm going to boo you at your Hall of Fame induction. I'm going to boo you every time you come back, unless you can give me some actual story content on why we as fans should forgive you. Kayfabe or not.
There you go.
Right, I can. I know we don't want to go on long with the tangents, but I have that way in my head what it should be.
And that would be a fantasy booking someday, so...
Yes, it will.
But that was Backlash. I thought Backlash was excellent. I'm probably I'll give that an A-. I thought it was very consistent all throughout.
We're not done with Backlash quite yet, though.
There's one more thing I forgot. Yeah.
We had a post show, and we're going to talk about one thing that sets up for Saturday night's main events, and that's Cena comes out and goes, "All right, I've been told I have to actually answer questions this time, and that I can't just come here for my obligated 5-minute appearance. So who has the first question?" Before it could be asked, out comes R-Truth. "John, man, I want to talk to you, man. Good job." And Cena immediately gets up and says, "Truth, that was over the line. You say one more word, and there's going to be consequences." Truth tried explaining himself, and Cena ate him through a table.
It was good. I like that.
Off.
That was awesome. I loved it.
I thought it was great, and we knew where it was going. I think we'll just jump right into that. It led us into Saturday night.
Well, what's your grade for Backlash first before?
A-. I can roll with that. I think I don't have any reason to change it, really.
There you go.
But yeah, so now we're rolling into Saturday night's main event. Live May 24th, Saturday night 2025 from the Yuengling Center in Tampa, Florida. This was the 39? Yep, Saturday night's main event, 39. So next one's going to be the 40th.
Wow, I wanted to do something big for that one.
We did have Jesse the Body Ventura on commentary for a little bit. I'm going to go ahead right now and give him a D for the night. He was not he was not F category, but he was not great.
Yeah, he's a little outdated, I would say.
Jesse is still, as a character, he's very good at being him, but he felt like... I'll get to it, actually, in the whatever match it was. I think it was the third match. Fourth match of the night. Okay. But, we'll get right into it. So we had Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker with Paul Heyman versus CM Punk and Sami Zayn in a tag match. A lot of good back and forth action. The question everyone had going into this match was answered, and that question was because in the weeks leading up to it, we had a lot of Punk and Zayn getting bailed out by Jey Uso or any combination of the two getting bailed out by a third person. Everyone started saying, okay, so Seth and Braun have to have a partner here, right? I also going into it was like, I don't know. I mean, Braun Breaker could just build him as that intense that he is worth two people, but no, we did in fact get the reveal of a third person for Seth Rollins' Vision. I think that's what he's calling his new group, the Vision. And that person was the big monster himself, Big Bronson Reed.
Mm-hmm.
So now we got Braun and Braun's son.
The Blondes.
Seth Rollins, yeah. We might as well start calling them the B team, although Uncle Howdy might have some issues with that.
And there's no B's in Seth Rollins' name, so I don't know how you work around that.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, he got involved, and he led to Rollins and Breaker being able to pick up the victory. So now, going forward, we have this. We have this team to look forward to: Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed, with Paul Heyman as the manager. Overall, good match. I think you couldn't have really asked for more out of it. Everyone got their shots in. We got the answer to the question we were looking for. Can't really ask for much more.
I enjoyed this. Yeah, I thought it was really good. Obviously, the thing with Bronson Reed, now being part of this faction. Obviously, some people hated this. Obviously, because they're thinking it doesn't make sense. Because obviously, Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins had that big feud last year in the fall. I think it works, and as I talk about on Raw, it seems like this was more of a Paul Heyman add-on than a Seth Rollins thing, because but I actually kind of think this works, because if you remember, the whole reason Bronson Reed's out of action is because CM Punk moved Roman Reigns out of the way from the table at War Games. And then, I could see it where Seth Rollins is just like, okay, I may not like this guy, but I can use him as my path of distraction to create like a better vision for the company and to get rid of Roman Reigns and CM Punk. And obviously, so I don't think Raw made it work as well, but I feel like there's, I feel like they've been able to make this make sense a little bit.
Keep your enemies closer And that is all she wrote
Yeah.
about Seth Rollins adding Bronson Reed to the group.
Yeah, I believe it.
It makes sense. Bronson Reed, the whole point of his feud last year was I want to make an impact, and I think being Seth Rollins gets me there. And now Seth Rollins wanting to gather the guys that want to make the most impact and have the most to gain by doing whatever it takes. Seth looks and says, well, this guy tried killing me last year because he just wanted to make an impact. Now he can make an impact by helping me.
Yeah.
That's really all it is to it. But moving on, this is going to be a fun match to talk about. We had Zelina Vega versus Chelsea Green and I can't tell if it's a secret Hervis or the secret Hervis, but either way, I love that faction.
Me too.
This is for the Women's United States Championship with Zelina defending. This match was truly 100% A grade awful. This was a bad match.
It's not great, yeah.
And I'm not gonna blame Chelsea Green for this. I like Zelina Vega, but she was just off her game. I really don't think Zelina Vega is a bad wrestler, but this was just a very bad match for her. Her punches were clearly far off. She kind of looked like she was jogging it out instead of running through the match, which she should have done. Because they only got 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 seconds. I'm looking at the time now. So you get 5 minutes. You can work hard and fast and just get it done in 5 minutes.
Yeah. I feel like...
I'm pretty sure Zelina's been on speed enough. That's not an issue.
Yeah. I feel like we'll get performances like this from Zelina Vega every once in a while, too.
The big thing was she went for a 619, and everything that could have gone wrong with it went wrong.
Yeah.
So I have to split it up by her legs to explain how bad it went. So she went for it and went to swing from right to left into Chelsea Green. So her left leg is below her right leg, trying to go from vertical to horizontal. Her left foot got caught on the middle rope, which didn't let her get full rotation. But what that also did was it caused her right shin to basically slingshot forward and just whack Chelsea right in the face.
Yep.
And she busted her open. I mean, Chelsea was like a fountain, and she just turned the hose on. She was pouring blood pretty bad.
Yep.
Everyone caught it, and I think thankfully they just immediately were like, fuck this. Let's just go hit the code red in the corner and call it a night. And they did. Zelina won the match. I want to give this match like 0 stars because of how bad it was, but it was almost so bad I have to give it at least 1 star because it wasn't unentertaining.
I could say that.
So
yeah.
I'm gonna give it a star. The hell of it.
Why not? Yeah. Yeah, this wasn't great. Again, it didn't. Just not a great match right here for all the reasons you just said.
Yeah. But yeah, so we had that match. Really not much to say other than that. Moving on, we had another quick match that I think everyone knew was going to be quick, and that was a non-title match between John Cena and R-Truth. Going into this, it wasn't until maybe a few days before my brother texted me. He points out, he goes, it's not for the title. So there's nothing saying Truth can't win. I'm like, yeah, so as we got closer to it, I was thinking, because normally, like, if something's really just not that obvious, I'll realize it, like, the night of something.
Yeah.
Like example that I always use is WrestleMania 35. Like, as Kurt Angle was making his entrance, just suddenly, all of a sudden, like, he has no reason to win this. He ain't going to win. And then Baron Corbin squashed them.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I told people, like, so as Kurt was making his entrance, I just went, you know what? I have no doubt in my mind Kurt ain't winning right now. I didn't have that. I really thought Truth was going to come out here and out of nowhere just shock everyone, even if it was just a roll-up or if it was he caught him off guard because Cena doesn't take him seriously and wins. But No, it was, you know, I can't. I actually, before I get to the match, Cena makes his entrance as he normally does, and then all of a sudden we get the bright red colors of John Cena of, what was it, 2011,
Yeah.
and out comes R-Truth as Ron Cena. I got a huge pop. I was laughing. I thought it was great.
It was awesome, yeah.
He runs down to the ring. Cena's not entertained. He starts wailing on him, and it's some back and forth action for the first couple minutes, and then Cena gets the advantage, goes to hit him with the title belt, stops, looks around, and hands the belt to the ref, and we're like, oh, okay. And then as soon as the ref turned around, kicked him in the nuts, a 1, 2, 3, match is over. They're clearly starting to show. I mean, I think we missed it at Backlash when Cena was leaving the ring. After the show, they showed him starting to tear up as the crowd was still chanting "Thank you, Cena," regardless of him being a heel. And that circles back to, as much as people want the heel turn, I don't think people want the heel run right now.
Right.
What's the saying? A day late and a dollar short. I think that's kind of where we're at right now. Because I think it's common knowledge now. We all know Rock wanted Cody to turn heel, but I'm not going to go off on that tangent right now. So I think it's like clearly stuff of Cena thinking about it and then just not making the turn. But obviously something will happen where he's going to. I know I said I hope he doesn't stay heel all the way to the end. I don't think he will. They've been advertising him for that show in Perth, Crown Jewel, in October. They really haven't advertised much past that, so that's making me think, all right, at latest, he's going to stay heel until that.
Yeah, because there's rumors that his last match will be in Boston. He has to be a face for that, I would think.
I saw the other day on Channel 5 News that it's officially in Boston.
Yeah.
For his last match. That's no longer a rumor.
So I think
I've been talking with many people on it. We're all on the same train of thought. We're like, I just looked at SmackDown tickets. If you want balcony seats, it's upwards of $100. I'm like, funny. SmackDown came here just a few months ago. It was like $40 to sit in the balcony. Cena retiring all of a sudden.
Yep.
Now it's $100. Like, so his last match, I'm like, there's gonna be friggin' UFC prices, because you looked at UFC tickets when they're in Boston, it was like $400 for the balcony.
Yeah, I'm going to Cena's last match. So
I'm going to work friggin' every overtime detail at my job that I can to friggin' save up for that. But I'm already in the back of my head like, it's gonna be like $500 to sit in the damn balcony, because I have to remind myself, like, that's not going to be a Boston crowd. That's going to be a traveler crowd.
Probably, yeah.
It'll be like a half Boston crowd, and then you'll get a bunch of people traveling from all over the place.
But I enjoyed this stuff with Cena and Truth for what it was. I liked it. I like that we got this match, because this is a match I've wanted for a while, and I'm glad that they did it. Truth was kind of in the Chris Dodd role here, and he tried to save John Cena, and he wasn't successful. And if Chris Dodd was here, I think he would say he was living vicariously through Truth there. And I'll give it like 3. It was solid. I feel like this match also didn't really do much justice to the John Cena heel run. I think I've said this before. When the heel one is good, this was one of those nights. Because I don't know if you'll cover it. He cuts a promo late in the show, like backstage, and I feel like some of the heel turn, he's just trying too hard. Like, he doesn't sound human when he talks sometimes. But you'll probably get to him when we get there.
Yeah. Cena is getting booed now, not because... I think... I wish John were here to explain it. He's very good at explaining it, more so than I am. It's gotten to the point where we're not booing John Cena anymore. We are booing everyone behind that curtain for not changing directions yet. No, he used to say the same thing all the time. He used to come out every week and say, as loud as Roman's boos are, none of them are booing Roman Reigns. Maybe 5%, but most of it is people just hating the booking.
Yeah.
I think over the past couple of years, we can see that statement was correct. Everyone wanted Roman Reigns to succeed. Took us a long time to get there.
It did.
But that's kind of where we're at with Cena now. They need to change directions. But we'll talk more about John Cena in a bit as it pertains to the main event because he, spoiler alert, does get involved. But next up, we're going to move on to a steel cage match. I was actually very excited for this. I am a huge fan of steel cage matches. I feel like we don't get a lot of steel cage matches in wrestling anymore. We'll get Hell in a Cell, we'll get a ladder match, but I just feel like a steel cage match isn't as common as it once was.
I feel like we've gotten a lot this year, though, recently. Yeah, because we got Punk and Rollins in the cage.
Okay.
Tony D and Ridge Holland fought in the cage in NXT.
Okay, yeah. Right.
I'm trying to remember, there was another one. Well, there was a lot of the house shows, they went Punk and Gunther, or Gunther and AJ in a cage.
We get War Games, but, that's a specialty.
Yeah, I know there was another cage match. I just can't remember.
Regardless, this is with Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. And the highlight of this match, for all the wrong reasons, was not in the ring. I mentioned it earlier. It was Jesse Ventura. Just sounded like an old geezer complaining the entire time about the match. So, not much to say about the in-ring action. They hit all their hits, and there's nothing wrong with that because Priest and McIntyre, if nothing else, are entertaining to watch alone, let alone together, I think. And even going into WrestleMania, everyone had that mindset of, this match is going to be put in the position to suck, but it's not going to.
Right.
It's true. But in the end, Priest just obliterated McIntyre, concertoed him at one point. It is coming out that I guess McIntyre might have actually injured his ankle, which is why they did that spot.
Mm-hmm. And he's been, and they're saying he's been working hurt also.
Yeah, and then Damian walks out of the Damian Priest walks out of the cage, and Jesse Ventura is fuming on commentary. You can't walk out of a cage. Be a man and climb over the cage. Michael Cole's like, it doesn't matter. And he could have pinned him too. You can't pin someone in a cage. There aren't doors in cages. And Cole's just trying to be like, dude, this isn't the 80s anymore. The rules of a steel cage have changed. Not for nothing. The best way to end a steel cage match is by someone climbing over the top.
Mm.
The worst way to end a steel cage match is by pinfall, in my opinion.
That's fair.
It might as well not be there if you're going to pin someone or make them submit. I always enjoyed steel cage matches back in the day where they specifically said the only way to win is by climbing over the top. And then, you'd have a submission guy in there, get someone in to be tapping and be like, oh, it doesn't matter because this is a steel cage match. I always like that better. But regardless, what were your thoughts on the cage match?
Yeah, I thought the cage match was very good. I thought it was a good combination of Priest and McIntyre's feud. Jesse Ventura, obviously just being an old geezer, was pretty funny. I remember too, he was talking over because Lillian Garcia and introductions too. She was trying to introduce the match and he was talking over it. I'm surprised they didn't mute his mic or whatever. I obviously at the end, they had Damian Priest do the concerto and walk out of the cage because I thought that was very symbolic. The fact that they've been trapped in each other's vortex, it was symbolic of Damian Priest finally leaving the Drew McIntyre vortex and everything like that. And I don't think that's going to hurt Drew that much because again, because he's going to be gone for a while. I think he can bounce back from that. Because when he comes back, I feel like he'll be rejuvenated again and everything like that. He could come back as a face. He's done this heel thing for a little bit, and maybe realize that he's been blaming everyone else for his thing instead of looking at himself in the mirror, which I think would be interesting. Or he could come back again as a heel, and still do what he's doing. And obviously, I don't know what this means for Damian Priest. It's very rare in wrestling where you can kind of see more of the future of the loser than the winner. Because I don't know where Damian Priest kind of goes from this. Because he won this match, but I don't know where. I guess he could face Fatu for the U.S. champion, the men's U.S. championship.
I saw this match as an unofficial number one contenders match. I think it's time for obviously back up to Backlash, because that's really your mid-card picture there. Maybe with Shinsuke Nakamura included, but I don't see him getting involved right now.
Yeah.
McIntyre's obviously going to heal up, I think. I think it's time for LA Knight to move away from the title picture. The U.S. title start moving upwards slowly.
Yeah. But I thought this...
So, yeah, I really think Damian Priest versus Fatu is probably not far on the horizon.
But I thought this was great. I gave it 4 stars. It's, it's a great cage match.
Yeah, I agree. Now moving on to the main event, we had Jey Uso defending the World Heavyweight Championship against the Maverick, Logan Paul. I was looking forward to this match a lot. Did not disappoint. I was happy with what I got. It was a lot of good back and forth between the two. You saw all their hits, and just when it looked like Jey had the match all wrapped up, we get the 1-2. Ref gets pulled out because shortly before the match, there was a run-in Jey Uso had with John Cena, where Jey basically talked a little bit of trash to him, and John said, the idea of a YouTuber holding your championship sounds like it would really ruin wrestling. So they kind of teased that he was going to screw him over. I didn't think he was. I thought this was going to be something to be like, oh, okay, well, they're going to be in Saudi in a couple weeks. Maybe they'll do the champion versus champion setup again. But nope, Cena made the rundown, pulled him out of the ring, started beating him down, and just when it looked like we were going to get a screw job finish of Logan Paul becoming champion, cue the music, cue the quarterback, the return of the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. And this is where we're changing from Steve Steiner to the Smark Slayer right now. Cry me a fucking river, IWC. The quarterback is back. You heard it just the way I did. Those cheers were genuine, not piped in. The reality is, the people want Cody, the people got Cody. Cody saves the day, makes sure Jey Uso wins the match, and at Money in the Bank, we're getting a tag team match playa, where it's going to be Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes reuniting their old tag team versus John Cena and Logan Paul. Overall, I liked this match a lot. I liked the ending. I was happy to see Cody back. I don't for a second think his act is getting stale. I think it's just getting more depth.
Yeah.
We're just getting started with it.
I like this a lot. This was great stuff. I like that the match didn't end when Cena took the ref out, because usually we've seen matches before, and the match continued and Jey just won and everything like that. And I think it was weird, because Gunther had the past few weeks, I kept saying June 9th. I'm like, is Gunther getting the day one of Money in the Bank or something? But that's not the case, because they had this tag match planned and everything like that. And I think this is a good storyline element for Jey Uso, the fact that he's taken on too much as champion, because he had to do this match, he's getting involved with the Seth Rollins stuff, and now he has to face Gunther in a few weeks and everything like that. And, all the storylines here tie in together with Jey and Cena from the Rumble. Obviously, Cody and Cena now, and obviously, Jey and Logan and Cody and Logan from last year. I'm happy Cody's back. I thought he deserved some time off after being the quarterback last year, and I think it keeps his character fresh by him being away and everything like that. And I'm glad he got...
I hope Cody learned wearing a suit to Universal Studios probably wasn't the best decision.
And I also, like the fact that, he got a good reaction here, because obviously Vegas, the last time he was there, he wasn't getting great reactions anytime his name was mentioned. It seemed like that was a one-off. It seemed like it was just that crowd, the Mania crowd in Vegas, kind of getting themselves over. So it seems like...
Yeah, as someone who was there, that crowd sucked.
Yeah, so... it seems like, there's no reason for Cody to go, that they have to make changes to Cody. I mean, I get it. He's only been on one show, and there was this show since Vegas, so obviously we'll have to wait and see, like, what his reactions are going to be like the next few weeks. But I think everything's going to be fine with Cody. I think...
yeah, agreed.
So, but I liked Saturday night's main event. I thought it was, really good. I would probably give it, like, a solid B plus-ish. Not quite an A show, but I would give it like a B plus-ish, and somewhere in that
I think
range.
I'll go with what we said for Backlash, another A minus. I really enjoyed the show. Thought it was very good.
And now we're moving on to because WWE took over Orlando that weekend. Now we're moving on to NXT Battleground. Obviously, very historic show for both NXT and TNA, which we'll get to. The Countdown show wasn't much. It was just a half hour of Megan Moran and Sam Roberts just running down the code. At least it was only a half hour versus 2 hours, so, it didn't really... Again, if we have to have the Countdown show, that's the way to go about it. I'm glad that it wasn't overly long or anything. It kicked off with the women's... North American Championship match. It was Sol Ruca versus Kalani Jordan. Obviously, this was a rematch from Heatwave. And, I thought this match was very interesting because obviously both these characters are in different positions now and everything like that. I
wish Chris were here so I could just say, what the hell does he mean Sol Ruca's trying to be Liv Morgan? I just don't see it.
Yeah, could have been the attire, could have been something, but... yeah,
and Sol Ruca, can actually wrestle.
Yeah, but overall, very good stuff. Very athletic. This match had a little bit more heat behind it. And then at the end, Sol hit the Soul Snatcher. This was a super Soul Snatcher. She hit it from the top turnbuckle versus the middle turnbuckle, and she stuck the landing very well. They did a bit where Zarya ended up saving Sol's skin at one point, and. I really like this. I'll probably give this 4 stars. I thought this was a great opener right here. I don't know what's going on with Kalani Jordan's character right now. It seems like she's in the heel role, but she's not really fully heel. She's more just aggressive and everything like that.
I was thinking that, and then as I'm watching the match, and as soon as Zarya interfered, is when it finally clicked for me what's going on here. I'm like, this is like the Kevin Nash Sting heel turn of 2010 where... they said, we turned heel because we think Hulk Hogan's the bad guy, and then turned out they were right. So you go, so were they ever really heel then?
Right.
I think this is something where Kalani's going to be like, this is BS. You guys are in cahoots. And Sol's going to be like, no, I talked to Zarya. I said that wasn't cool. I told her she shouldn't have gotten involved, and she apologized. And then they'll have another match, and they'll beat her down, and it'll be like, oh, no, Sol and Zarya are definitely heels.
Okay, happy.
And then it's like, okay, so was Kalani ever bad, or was she right?
But what'd you think of this match? I thought it was a great opener right here.
I thought it was good. I think the Soul Snatcher is one of the best, if not the best, women's finisher in wrestling today. I can't really think of anything that tops it.
Yeah.
That goes for WWE, AEW, New Japan, all across the board. I love that finisher.
Yeah, it's very good. Then we had the 6-man tag. It was the Cullen versus Hank and Tank and Josh Briggs. Good match. This was a TV match, though. This match did not belong on a PLE like this. I don't know why it was. It just didn't really make sense. This was good, though. They gave the win to the baby faces, and afterwards, the Cullen beat them down. And then... what's his name? What's his tag partner's name? He just came back. I forget his name off the top of my head. It's Inamura, I believe is his last name.
Yeah, Yoshiki Inamura.
Yeah, he came back.
I keep calling him Fushigi Inamura because I keep thinking of the commercial.
But yeah, he's made the save after the Cullen were beating him down. I give this 3 stars. This really didn't need to be on the show. I think the only reason it was because Inamura came back.
I think so too. And not for nothing, I like Hank and Tank. I think their act is incredibly over. I do make the joke though every time it's like, and making their way to the ring, Hank Walker, Tank Ledger, the public. I mean Hank and Tank.
Yeah, they are very public enemy. Yeah.
Public enemy.
But
always Hank needs to start walking around doing this, and Tank needs a table.
Yeah, still don't like the Cullen. That faction's not very good. I don't like I think it's Nico Vance is his name. Not Josh Briggs. I always do that. Brooks Jensen is very irrelevant, and I like Sean Spears. You could definitely tell. He's starting to transition more to behind the scenes stuff with stuff like this. And Nizzy Dame is very not good too. What do you think of the Cullen? You like the Cullen, or maybe it's just me?
No, I like Sean Spears and I like Izzy Dame, but I've never been a big Brooks Jensen guy really, and I'm really just not behind Nico Vance. But I still like Sean Spears. I think he's great. I think as good as Sean Spears is, as much as he should have been used his first run in WWE, I think it's time to accept that he's probably getting closer to becoming a coach.
Yeah,
sooner rather than later. I think Izzy Dame's probably the best person in that group right now.
Probably, yeah.
So look at me pushing. Certainly better to push than other people in the NXT Women's Division. We'll talk about it later.
Then we had Tony D versus Shannon Stacks Lorenzo. This was technically good stuff. I just don't care about this feud. I'm not into it. I think the Tony D's act has gotten very stale in NXT. I just don't really think it's really that over anymore. And it's starting to be very bland. It's the same stories where it's just about mafias and everything like that. It's just kind of getting old. And I feel like, too, the only reason they haven't gotten called up is I don't think this gimmick's going to translate to the main roster when it happens. So that's the only reason they're still there. And then the finish was really stupid. Like, Tony D was beating him up and, like, looking like he was going to put him away, and then he got, like, distracted by, like, Luca Cusafino coming back and, like, being there, and then it caused, like, Stacks to win. And afterwards, it seems like that, like, I thought this was like him. I thought this was Luca Cusafino, like Jordan Stacks, and that doesn't seem to be the case. And then based off this week's NXT, it's not the case. So this, and it sucks more because this feud's going to continue now, and I'm just kind of done with it. So this feud's just not good. The match is probably like a 3, but I'm probably going to be like too harsh to it. I'm going to give it like a 2 because I just didn't care. Like I just don't care.
I don't either. It was a fun gimmick at first, but might have been the last year or 2 years ago when they were in a good position to get called up and they just didn't do it for whatever reason. I think it was after Tony D lost the title. I was like, yep, that's it. And then they didn't call him up, and I immediately said, okay, they're going to lose all their momentum and they're not going up to the main roster in any way, shape, or form in good shape. And that's what's happened here. Tony D by himself is at best, like his peak is a mid-card title. I don't see him as a main event star. I just don't.
Yeah.
And then Channing Stacks Lorenzo is a friggin' speed champion at his best right now.
That's not good.
It's not. I give this match. Yeah, I gave Zelina Vega a 1-star earlier because as bad as her match was, at least it was entertaining. This is not even as entertaining as that, so it's going to get half a star.
Oh my gosh, you didn't even... But also, Stax has new theme music now, and it's really bad. Like, it's not good.
Yeah,
like,
it was... I don't even know how to describe it. I don't.
It's just not good.
I want to move on. Let's talk about the next match.
Was it the women's title match, or was it the... No.
Stephanie Vacquier.
Yeah, Stephanie Vacquier, Jordan Grace. This was excellent stuff. A happier time in the women's division, which we'll get to. I thought this was great stuff, though. It was really unpredictable who was going to win this match because obviously Stephanie Vacquier has been very red hot ever since she signed with WWE. And Jordan Grace, obviously kind of needs to get some momentum going. But, this was great stuff, though. Very back and forth, very hard-hitting. And Stephanie Vacquier won with the spiral tap, which was very surprising. But I always like that in wrestling, where they don't necessarily always win with the finisher moves and everything like that. I assume, too, probably Stephanie can't hit the STB on Jordan Grace, so they probably had to win with the spiral tap. But, I thought this was great stuff. I gave it, 4.5 stars. And it was really excellent and a happier time in the women's division. So what'd you think of this?
You know what's funny? As I told you, I think the Soul Snatcher is the best finisher in women's wrestling today. And what's ironic is on the flip side of it, I think the SVB is probably the worst finisher in women's wrestling today. I don't like it at all. It just doesn't look impactful. There's no pizzazz to it. It looks like a move anyone could hit, and you get a 1 count off of it. I just don't get finisher-wise for it. So I was very happy she used the spiral tap because that's a finisher.
It really is.
Stephanie Vaquer is a women's wrestler who deserves to be champion. Jordan Grace is a women's wrestler who deserves to be champion.
You're just waiting. You gotta wait a little longer.
Rumors are that Stephanie Vaquer is going to Raw and Jordan Grace is going to SmackDown.
You gotta wait still. It's not there yet, so...
I'll focus on the Jordan half of that. If it's true Jordan's going to SmackDown, I think she's ready. I think she spent enough time in TNA that she doesn't need a long time in NXT. As for what I'd like to see Jordan Grace do on SmackDown, I think a tag team between her and Charlotte Flair could really shake up the women's tag division.
You would have to fight. So you would have
because that would mean Bimbo and Ding Dong would have to drop the belts from Judgment Day.
Yeah, it's good.
And 2, and most importantly, this would make Chris Dodd very happy.
So do you challenge?
Not necessarily Charlotte and Jordan winning if that happened. Just Liv and Raquel losing them.
Do you turn Jordan heel from that? Because I don't think anyone's going to cheer Charlotte Flair at the moment.
Yeah.
So
I think you turn Jordan heel.
Do you think she could work heel? I don't think she's worked heel before. So
no, I don't think she has. But I mean, just if you can't do it by yourself, you let Charlotte take the lead, and it's just shut up, let her do the talking, and then whatever she says, bounce off of it, and you'll be fine.
There you go. And then we had the.
I think Charlotte's one of those people who's like Batista, where they said, "I can work face, but I am just 100% better as a heel. I have more fun as a heel."
There you go. So then we had the NXT Championship match. It was Oba Femi versus Miles Bourne. I thought this was very good. Miles Bourne got some nice stuff in here. And I thought, he looked really good in this match. Obviously, Oba Femi was just a killer. He's got really good potential. He's really ready to go up on the main roster now if they really wanted him to go up there, but obviously it would hurt NXT if he goes there.
He's coming up and beating the shit out of Cena any day this year.
Yeah. But obviously, it hurt NXT stock, and I don't really think there's really a lot he can do on the main roster. Everything's kind of taken on the main roster at the moment, like main event wise. So but he's been very good.
I think agreed. Miles Bourne really showed that he was ready to roll during this match at main event level in the NXT.
Yeah, I thought that I gave this 4 stars. I thought it was great stuff.
I do too. Oba's got to drop the belt soon so we can get up to the main roster, but obviously not to Miles Bourne.
Yeah, I feel like the only people I see, we'll get to the main event, but the only person that's on NXT I could see beating Oba for the belt is probably Javon, as like a good underdog story, or Ethan Page, but obviously Ethan Page isn't. I think his days are numbered in NXT also, or someone that just lost the belt in Ricky Saints also.
I think someone who just lost their belt that we're going to get to in a sec, but I'll just say this: I really like Miles' character where he's just upfront about the fact that he's deaf in one ear. But there's always a part of me in the back of my head that's like, if I swear to God, he gets called up to the main roster, people are going to start chanting "what" at him, and it's going to be the worst thing for people who know. Yeah, because half of those people are going to be like, this is fun. I hope there's nothing wrong with him, and then you're like, he's deaf in one ear, and the whole crowd's gonna be like, I'm not trying to be a jerk either. It's like, I just think it all the time, like, someone's gonna start chanting "what" at him, and it's gonna be really awkward.
You're not gonna get this reference, but there's a show called Red vs. Blue.
I love Red vs. Blue.
Well, I've only seen up to season 10, but there's a bit that's a comedy scene at the time in season 3 where, like, Church keeps going back in time and messes up, like basically not killing himself, and it's a comedy scene, but then you don't really realize that it's actually not really comedy because that AI was like torturing him. And my cousin knew that, and I was laughing about it. And then I'm like, wait a minute, he was being tortured there. So it's like, it's like, yeah, that's like the Miles Bourne thing all over again. Like we just laughed at like someone was like being tortured. We didn't even like know it.
Miles Bourne effect.
But
I will say this: I loved how Miles played into the fact that everyone jokes that he's Randy Orton's son by in his entrance hitting the corner.
Yeah, that was good.
Doing the Randy Orton taunt.
I hope he's breaking out on his own.
Event.
Yeah, the main event was the TNA World Championship match. What a weird world we live in, where the TNA World Title was defended at the main event of all places too, but just on a WWE show in general. And the fact that they could even talk about TNA, because Sam Roberts even mentioned on the Countdown show that, like, before you can never even mention TNA in WWE. That's how dead set.
Right. I remember all the jokes back in the day when, like Paval, when he had to do a rapped about how he was going to deliver some total nonstop action.
Yeah.
How John Cena said that if Vince fired him for losing the belt to Punk, he was going to go on someone else's show, brother.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the JBL and Cole show where like they're interviewing AJ Styles and they're like, so you want to talk about where you were before here? Yeah, I was in New Japan. Oh, we can talk about that. Yeah, that's no problem. It's a great place. Want to talk about where you were before that? Nope.
Oh, the Edge and Christian show where they talked about.
That was Edge and Christian jokes with them about it.
Yeah. But yeah, it was Joe Hendry defending the belt against Trick Williams. And I was really back and forth with what they were going to do here because, Joe Hendry, has been doing really well as TNA World Champion. And, it was an easy thing for him to win. That's good publicity for TNA that a TNA wrestler beat a WWE wrestler. But I'm like, there's some intrigue to having Trick Williams win this title here and having a WWE guy. It's going to get hate. And obviously, there's reports behind the scenes that he has. Like, there's been reports that some TNA wrestlers are mad that this happened, and like some fans are mad that this happened. I'm not sure how true that is, but they're being reported. Yeah, that's what happened. The match was very good, but eventually, Trick Williams got frustrated that he couldn't put away Joe Hendry. The fact, too, that both these guys didn't even lock up or anything like that, like, before the match. They were getting huge ovations. Just shows how strong they are as characters and everything like that. And, Joe, he went to grab the TNA World Championship. The ref took it away from him. He placed it down, and then Trick Williams hit a flapjack, sending him Joe Hendry face first into the belt, and he had the trick shot for the win. I think this is a great decision. I think Trick Williams being the TNA World Champion makes a lot of sense. And having a WWE guy hold TNA's title. And they're not really treating this. I mean, they kind of are, but they're not completely treating this like it's an outsider thing. And that's the big thing I've liked about this partnership.
They showed the TNA president in the crowd beforehand. This shows to me that WWE and TNA as partners are closer than AEW and TNA ever were. The fact that here we are with them giving TNA the main event on one of their shows, and not only that, TNA being comfortable enough to say, yeah, your guy's going to win the belt, and it's going to be like all hell's broken loose, because now everyone's going to watch Impact and be like, what the hell happens now?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people say they think it's just a transition so Mike Santana wins the belt from Joe Hendry. Trick Williams. I don't know. I personally think the direction they go in is they're going to let Trick hold on to the belt for the summer. That's going to be their big summer storyline is, Trick Williams holding the belt hostage, essentially. I can see the way that they really make this more intriguing is now, they do another battle royal. Joe Hendry enters it, wins it, and then he beats over Femi for the NXT title.
I like that,
and
yeah.
And then you have Trick Williams come out complaining like, "This is outrageous. How can a TNA guy hold our belt?" And Hendry's basically like, "Dude, shut the fuck up. You've been holding our belt, and you're not going to come out here and complain about me winning our belt, especially, he'll do it fair and square. He won't cheat against Oba. Just beat him fair and square, shake hands after the match, and then you have your main event set for NXT Heatwave, where you get a double title match: Joe Hendry versus Trick Williams.
Yeah, I like this a lot. Yeah, this has been really great stuff. You know, yeah. I mean, I know this did happen with the AEW TNA partnership because Kenny did win their belt, but as you saw, they never showcase the Impact World Title that much when Kenny had it.
They did.
I know it's only been 1 week, but it seems like so far it's they're showcasing the belt very well with WWE and everything like that. And yeah, this is I think really great stuff. I think Trick Williams is the perfect person to do this too. I'm really liking Trick's heel run right now. I like that his character hasn't actually changed. It's just the darker sides of his character that's like always been there. That's just coming out at the moment.
And as per usual, there's only one thing that's really annoying about Trick Williams. It's the fact that Booker T won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that's hey, that's part of his heel run now. So
whoop that trick, whoop that trick, whoop that trick, Dookie. Every fucking week. Shut up.
He's gonna be like that about Jasper Troy now. I hope you're ready for that. So,
talking about that Jasper Troy, LFG, the dang old big.
There's something I missed on the show, by the way, that if I forgot to cover, it was Ricky Saints and Ethan Page little promo segment they had with each other, where like they had a brawl and everything like that. That was fine. I liked that. A pet peeve of mine I've always had is like
we saw Eva at Battleground for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It jogged my memory when she showed up on the monitor at NXT in Vegas. He got blasted full heat by the crowd.
Who did?
Nepo baby.
Yeah.
Nepo baby.
But I thought that was kind of goofy about having Ethan and Ricky say if they were in the building, why didn't they just have the match on this show? That was kind of goofy. But
yeah.
Overall, I enjoyed Battleground. I thought it was. I'm gonna give it a B plus. I feel like we just had some matches that didn't belong on the show, like the 6-man tag and the Stacks and Tony D match. I could have done without, but we had another thing that was set up for NXT. I got to cue it. It was the title match between JC and Steffi Vacchio was set up on the show. And again, I think you just want to save that for when you cover NXT. There's a reason I'm having you cover NXT because it's so it can be fun for you. But we're not there yet. You got one more show. But
I can hit myself hard enough to knock myself out.
You're like Squidward in that episode of the Shrinking episode. I wonder if a fall like this would be enough to kill me. So,
yeah, Squidward, too bad that didn't kill me.
What's your letter grade for Battleground?
B minus.
Okay.
Not terrible, but still in a good category.
And then we had Raw from this past Monday, kind of going through some stuff. Seth came out and did his promo talking about like how he's securing the future of WWE and the big plan is Money in the Bank.
Do tell us, Owen, what type of language was the crowd using at Seth during this segment that's apparently become a little bit of a problem, I guess?
They were telling him, they were giving him some nice cuss words.
Suggestions.
Yeah. And he said that, when he wins the Money in the Bank briefcase, he's going to have all the power in this company. So that's good. I like that. And, Heyman kind of gave his piece. I like this promo. It didn't really set up a whole lot, but it was still good. Then we had the first Money in the Bank qualifier in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. It was Chad Gable versus Penta versus Dragon Lee. During this match, our heel Delvin Kingo was watching the match from the crowd. And yeah, this I thought was very good stuff. This was a good way to kind of set up Chad Gable versus Vikingo. I don't know what Vikingo's issues with Chad Gable is, though. They never really crossed paths or anything like that. So I don't really know what their issue is.
You know who would really be helpful to putting this whole thing to rest between them is the greatest of all time, El Grande Americano.
Yeah, he's good at beating luchadors. So, yeah, I thought this was very good. Chad Gable took a cheap shot at Vikingo, which kind of caused Vikingo to get his lick back, and This allowed Penta to win. I was very surprised Penta won, mainly because Worlds Collide's coming up. I figured he'd be on that show instead of Money in the Bank. I figured they would give the win to like Dragon Lee. But I don't know if this means if they want to put the briefcase on Penta, or if, if they're just going to have Penta pull double duty. But I was happy Penta won. I think that made sense. What do you think of this nice little triple threat match they had right here?
I enjoyed it. I definitely think Penta is a dark horse for the Money in the Bank this year.
I think so, yeah. Then we had backstage, the Judgment Day were playing 2K14. No, sorry, 2K24 or 2K25. I'm not sure which one. I would love if it was still 2K24. They couldn't get they said they couldn't get 2K25, but Roxanne Perez comes up and is making sure Dominic Mysterio's got everything he needs with his shoulder being messed up, and making sure that he's got his it's not tendies, it's nuggets, and it's been very clear that Dom only likes tendies, not nuggets, but she's been giving him the wrong thing. And Liv Morgan's back, and I think you saw my chat. I know, like, we say this as an exaggeration, where if a wrestler disappears from a show, sometimes the show's better off for it. This is not an exaggeration this time around. WWE really did improve while Liv Morgan was absent. I actually believe that. But she's back now. She's not happy with Dominic Mysterio about the fact that, now he's with a new woman and everything like that. I do like this because obviously this happened before. This is how I like this if this happened every time, like someone that Dom dates in kayfabe, goes off TV. He just gets a new relationship every time. I would like that, but I don't think that's gonna happen. And then Liv said she's gonna go ask for a Money in the Bank qualifying match, and everything like that. This backstage segment was fine. I could have done without Liv, but we just can't have it all. But what'd you think of this?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I've seen what people are saying, and I think it's 100% accurate, and that is that Dom getting ready to jump shit again. He betrayed his father for Rhea Ripley, he betrayed Rhea Ripley for Liv Morgan, and now he's going to betray Liv Morgan for Roxanne Perez.
Yep. And this time they're making it seem like Finn.
And all I gotta say is, the two words that come to mind from many may be Dirty Dom, but if you've been watching as long as we have, the two words that come to mind are Latino heat.
That's right. And it seems like Finn's the one that's actually pulling the strings. Like, he's actually pretty intrigued the fact that this is happening. So,
if you watch, people have been posting videos of Finn's close-ups of like him laughing like an absolute insane person at all the chaos that's happening in the Judgment Day. People are calling him Joker Finn now, saying he's gonna start acting like the Joker, going crazy. I
would like that. Then we had the triple threat match for the World Tag Team Championships. It was the New Day defending against the War Raiders and the Creed Brothers. This was whatever. I thought this was good for what it was. They kind of did a thing where the New Day and the Creed Brothers worked together, and then it bit them in the ass because then the New Day stabbed them in the back and pinned them to retain the titles. The finish was weak. That was really dumb. I didn't really like that. And I'm not really into the New Day's act anymore. It's kind of really, well, at least this version of it type of thing. It's really stale. The World Tag Team title picture is pretty weak on Raw. And then there's really not much they could, the only thing they could really do to make it better is to take some of the teams from SmackDown and just put that on Raw. Because SmackDown's tag division is really fire, and I feel like it's just... I think SmackDown's tag division, I know it's not good to compare stuff, but it really I think the fact that it's so hard really showcases and really shows the weaknesses of the Raw's tag division. What do you think of this tag title match right here? Yeah, I thought it was decent. Really not much to say. I agree with you that SmackDown's tag division is just leaps and bounds beyond Raw, to the point of almost in my head, like, if they're gonna do 3-hour SmackDowns, I'm almost kind of getting to the point where in my head, like, eventually they're gonna go back to 3-hour Raws. I just know that's gonna happen at some point. I almost would rather one brand exclusively have a mid card and one brand exclusively have a tag division. I would like that.
So that way you have writers who can specifically focus on just this.
Yeah, I would like that. The thing is, it's not going to happen because they just introduced these tag titles, like these versions of them, like last year, so they can't really get rid of them. It's kind of doesn't really make
You know, at
sense.
the end of the day, that's still better than the penny belts that we had for years.
Yeah, it is.
Those.
And I don't remember if this was the next thing, but next we had Jey Uso come out to do a promo. Before he could really talk about the tag match, he got interrupted by Gunther. And Gunther's talking about how Jey Uso's showcasing that he really can't handle the pressures of being a champion because he's just focusing on other people's drama instead of focusing on himself. And that's what Gunther did when he was World Heavyweight Champion. And that's why he's been a champion like 80% of the time that he's been with WWE. And Jey Uso says that, people need to stop doubting me. I've showcased and proven that I'm a good champion. I've retained my title twice now. I've tapped you out at WrestleMania. And, after I get through Money in the Bank, I will be, on the next episode of Raw. And I am going to make you tap out again. I like this, though. I like that Jay's starting to show more fire. He's not just like someone that's going to, be a pushover when it comes to being a champion and everything like that. And this was a good way to hype up the Gunther Jey Uso match and everything like that. Kind of cool to doing this match on TV. I know a lot of people probably think it belongs in the PLE, but I don't really mind them doing this on TV. I think that's going to be fine. What did you think of this promo segment here? I think I said this in the chat too. It's Gunther and Jey Uso. Anytime they get in the ring and do a promo or match together, it's just always magic.
I liked it a lot. Obviously they're not done yet. Gunther and Jey Uso, the feud has only just begun. Truly, we had the big. I'm trying to think. First match was at Saturday Night's Main Event in January. Jay came that close and lost. The rematch was at WrestleMania. Jay finally beat him and made him tap out, I think. Now here we are at the rubber match that's coming up. Not at Money in the Bank, obviously. I don't think we're going to see it there. I think...
It's at the Raw after Money in the Bank that's been advertised.
It is, right. Okay, that's right. So there's your blow-off match right there, finally. I think you could, though, to further Gunther's face turn, see something where, Jay's like, I promise you, like, no matter what happens, you're going to get the best of me. Like, the Raw after Money in the Bank. I won't be too tired. And you might see, like, a segment where Cena and Logan Paul are trying to injure Jay, and then Gunther actually runs up to save Jay. Because he wants a fair match. And then that sets up for Gunther and Cena at some point.
That'd be good. And then
More importantly, Gunther and Logan, because Logan's going to get the shit slapped out of his chest.
Oh, he absolutely will, yeah. Then we had some backstage segments. We had Rhea Ripley do a promo talking about how she's going to become Mommy in the Bank. And then you didn't see this on the show. It was doing Netflix's ads and everything like that. There was a segment backstage where Gable was upset with the Creed brothers for not winning, and he was upset for not winning, and then he got decked by AJ Styles. So it seems like that's going to be a match at some point with AJ and Chad Gable. And then let's see, anything else? There was that promo segment with Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria, where Lyra talked about how she just can't seem to shake Becky and just get rid of her, even though she's beaten her 2 times. And Becky Lynch comes out, and they basically added the stipulation because we find out that they're gonna have their rematch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship and Money in the Bank, where if Becky loses, she can't challenge Lyra anymore as long as she's champion, but if Lyra loses, she has to raise Becky's hand after the match. I thought all of these segments were good. I feel like what's going to happen is, Becky will win and Lyra will quote-unquote raise her hand, but not... It'll be like the Chris Benoit thing he did with MVP, where he raised his hand, but then he beat him up afterwards. I feel like that's going to happen.
Yeah, you're going to see Becky get a cheap win. Probably using, as Simon Miller would say, the most devastating move in all of professional wrestling, the surprise roll-up.
Yeah.
With rope assist. And, you're going to see her lift her hand and then pull her right in for a clothesline and start beating the hell out of her. And then they'll finish it off at Night of Champions.
I And then let's see. I'm gonna make sure I didn't miss anything. There's nothing. But and then backstage, Liv Morgan. She said she was going to Adam Pearce in a qualifying match, and she I guess she just walked around backstage for an hour because she very much did not do that. And maybe Adam Pearce's office was too far. Liv and Raquel come face to face with the Sky Pirates, and it leads to a match between Kairi Sane and Liv Morgan. And yeah, we had that match. I thought that match was good. Mainly because of Kairi. And Roxanne Perez tried to interfere and looked like it was going to help, but for some reason, like, Raquel Rodriguez took offense to this, and I didn't really understand that, but she did, and then it was Liv to lose. And then, everything kind of fell apart. And then backstage, Liv and Raquel, Liv kind of told Raquel she needed to be more professional because she has more experience in that. And you just see, like I said, Finn's just loving all of this drama going on in the Judgment Day.
Finn laughing his ass off in the background was great.
But what'd you think of the match with Liv and Raquel, Liv and Kyrie, and then everything after that?
I enjoyed it. Like I said, I don't think Liv Morgan's the best wrestler by any stretch of the imagination, but I think Kairi Sane's someone who can compensate for that.
Oh, definitely.
I think I'm ready for them to do something completely different with Liv Morgan at this point. I'm tired.
It seems like she's going to be the one that goes face. They're going to kick her out of Judgment Day, and she'll turn babyface, from it.
Yeah. Probably.
We'll see. I don't know if that's going to work, but... and then they'll reunite the team of Rhea and Liv, and I don't know if I want that, but it's happening. And then we had the main events segment where it was the triple threat match. It was Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn. Very unpredictable Money in the Bank qualifier because any one of these guys could have qualified. I kind of figured it would be Finn since Seth and Sami would cancel each other out. But they did backstage segments with Sami where Sami was upset at himself that he didn't go out there and interrupt Seth Rollins while he was talking. And Jay even kind of pointed out that hey, you would have just gotten beat down. And then you had Karrion Kross make his appearance where he mentioned that Karrion Kross should have taken, Sami should have taken the deal and gone to SmackDown and challenged John Cena for the WWE Championship. I want Karrion Kross to get pushed. That guy deserves a push.
He does. It's getting really old that WWE is acknowledging it slightly, and they're still just trying to avoid it clearly.
Yeah, because he's finally over. I remember for a while I was saying that Stu could not get over. I don't know what happened. He just finally got over one day. I don't know what he did to get over. But he just... Yeah.
Oh yeah, he cut a promo in Vegas, the day after WrestleMania.
Yeah. Where
he finally snapped and said he was tired of not getting pushed, but he's not going to leave either because if he does, he's just like everybody else basically.
Yeah, it's so.
I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, but it was along the lines of people say the grass is always greener on the other side, but without dropping names, people who go over there just get lost in the shuffle within 2 weeks. Unless you know whose butt to kiss. Anyhow, he basically said he wants to tough it out in WWE because that's the only satisfaction he's going to get professionally and personally, I guess.
I hope he gets pushed. He deserves it.
He does.
And then, we had that triple threat match. Sami was on the verge of winning until the Blondes interfered. And then... they got beat down, and then Dom tried to help Finn by sliding a chair to him, but it got fumbled, and Seth hit the stomp onto Finn Balor, onto the chair. Very reminiscent, because if you remember, this is what caused Finn to turn on Damian Priest when he was in the Judgment Day, so this is pretty interesting. And Seth's in Money in the Bank. Afterwards, they go to beat down Sami some more, but then CM Punk's music hits, and he just runs into the ring, hits a GTS on Seth, and runs out. I was kind of thinking they were going to do something where Punk was going to cost Rollins the qualifying match, but that didn't happen. So I don't know if Punk will get a qualifying match and go in because there's still 2 more spots on the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, and I think one will be taken up by SmackDown, one by Raw, and I think Punk will get the Raw spot.
Yeah, let's see where we're at right now for that. Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Penta, and Seth Rollins. Yeah, 2 more. So let's see. Solo and Knight are SmackDown. Penta and Rollins are Raw. So yeah, you figure one more each. I think SmackDown has one coming up, and it's
Yeah, it's Jacob Fatu
Mello,
and Andrade.
Don't know who's going to win, but I don't think
I could see Mello with
I don't see Fatu winning, but Andrade or Mello are fair game.
Andrade is definitely taking the pin, I think, though. So
I think you'll see something like what we talked about earlier about Damian Priest probably being next, and that match happening at Money in the Bank. I think you'll see something where he'll come out, or like early in the night, Fatu will get in his face, so he'll come out and he'll cost him the match. Yeah, Mello probably, because Andrade will have it won, and then the Miz will interfere.
yeah, see that.
But as for Raw,
They haven't announced a qualifier. They haven't announced a qualifier yet.
But I imagine you'll see something like CM Punk versus.
They've been doing all triple threats too, so
probably Punk versus Bronson Reed, because he hasn't had one yet.
Yeah.
Versus. I don't know. I don't know.
I know, but
I know who. Making his grand return to Monday Night Raw, since he hasn't actually had a match in a couple weeks. We've been talking about him all night. Mr. Gracias himself, El Grande Americano.
That's right. You know
what's going to happen? That's going to be the match, because Punk used to wear a mask. He's going to yank it right off.
We'll try to, yeah.
I don't know who's going to be under there, but...
Yeah, good.
Probably Jason Jordan.
But that was Raw. I thought it was really solid. I'll give it like a B. Nice solid show right there.
Yeah, BB+.
Yeah. And then we have what you've been waiting for to talk about, the NXT show. Which is kind of weird. This NXT show is actually like really good, and then there's going to be one thing for you that's going to be... I don't know if you're going to talk about it right away, or if you're just going to like build to it, but let's talk about NXT from this past week. I wish Chris was here for this. I really wish he was here. But
I don't. I'm happy he's not here. I don't have to put him through this. Okay. Get to it. Get to my damn notes. NXT was 2 hours and it ended. All right, let's move on.
No. We didn't build up all this.
Here's what we got. So it opened up. I actually didn't like this first match's result too much. Ricky Saints versus Ethan Page for the North American Championship. A lot of back and forth action between the two. But toward the end of the match, Saints hit a DDT off of Page, but Page sent him crashing into the match. It was just able to get that twisted grin to hit, and he gets the win and the title. So Ethan Page is once again the North American champion. I wasn't a huge fan of this decision. I don't see why they're going to keep them going back and forth. Maybe they just don't have plans for Ethan Page or Ricky right now, so they're giving themselves more time by keeping the feud going.
I was fine with this result, actually. I think, it gets over Ethan Page as a vicious wrestler. He keeps the feud going. And I really like the physicality of this match. I could have done without the Ava involvement, where like she had to tell the referee just to be lenient. I feel like the referee should have just known better to just do it himself. But if you remember, Ethan Page's neck issues was really good because they really played into that in this match.
Yeah.
So,
I will say that when I was sitting down watching this match, I'm thinking to myself, him and TNA had that big fight about who owns Karate Man a couple of years back, but now that everyone's on good terms, I realize Karate Man could come back.
Tell Ethan Page did Karate Man ripped out Ethan Page's heart on Impact, actually. So
that's what he did. Next match we had was Mike Santana versus Tavion Heights, with no quarter catch crew minus Miles Bourne in Tavion's corner. If we were doing this yesterday, I would have had the honor and privilege of saying Happy Wednesday, but this is a Thursday.
Yeah, it's Thursday.
Um, yeah, just a lot of good back and forth in this match. Santana really dominated the majority of it, though, so he winds up getting the win. After the match, Heights and Santana hugged it out. They raised each other's hands, and Dempsey was obviously peeved at this, obviously setting up for the inevitable blow up of the no quarter catch crew that is pretty much, in my mind, going to mirror that of Chase Hughes, where Ren's just kind of going to be there all crying and upset about it. Dempsey's probably going to annihilate everyone, go absolutely crazy. The difference here is I think Charlie Dempsey's finally going to embrace the offer that his father offered him months ago, and we're going to see the William Regal Charlie Dempsey team up.
I would
finally.
love that. Yeah, that'd be really good.
And I think, No Quarter Catch Crew's theme song isn't really outstanding, but I want him to start using William Regal's old theme song.
Well, it's kind of weird because they haven't really they've obviously been on screen, but they haven't really mentioned the fact that
directly.
Yeah, but the father and son and everything.
I wouldn't even mind if he broke up No Quarter Catch Crew and then he immediately went up to the main roster with William Regal, and he was like, I pulled the strings to get him called up here because we're not playing by anyone's rules, waiting for a call up. He's ready now. We're going to take over.
I'd love that. That'd be really good.
Regal as a vicious two-man combo.
Oh, I forgot.
And of course, you have to have the ref do the old school thing where he checks Dempsey before every match, and then he checks Regal, and he'll tap Regal's pocket and pull up the brass knucks.
I would like that, yeah.
And then as the ref's not looking, you'll see Dempsey slide something into his shorts, and it's another pair.
I like that. But I forgot one thing that happened on Raw. Rusev squashed Tozawa, and we're getting Rusev and Sheamus in a feud now, which I'm looking forward to. So that's good. Yes.
Backstage, Garrett Connors and Kel Dixon got themselves and Andrade chase a 6-man against Dark State next week after not taking Chase's advice the right way he intended it to. They shouldn't have broken Chase U up, even though I just mentioned it. It shouldn't have happened.
Well, technically, they're back together. It's just not the same Chase U that you thought it was. So
yeah. I was saying when they came back together, they should have changed their name to C Cubed, Chase Community College.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Then we had a meeting between Tony and Luca after the misunderstanding. We'll see where that goes.
I didn't like this. This was awful.
Yeah. And then Trick Williams makes his way out to the ring. Cuts a promo on the history of the belt and the fact that now he's champion. Says he's going to turn his back on the people because they've turned their back on him. Mike Santana makes his way out and trash talks him down. And he says he's going to be the one to take the belt from him. Trick basically says as if. And that's when, I think for the first time on NXT, we get to see Santino Marella himself.
No, he was on before, because he came out one week with...
Did he?
Yeah.
Was it with Ariana?
No, he came out and set up... He's the one that set up the Hardys versus Fraxium. That one.
That's right. But Santino showed up. He congratulated Williams, and he said that because he's a TNA champion and he's the director of TNA, he's going to be a fighting champion. So next week he's going to have to defend against Santana. Williams didn't accept a handshake and looked like he was going to attack him, but Santana decided to beat him to it and grabbed the belt, held it up, tossed it down. And I'll just say it real quick, Jada Parker and Tatum Paxley made their way out for their match, which we'll get to in a sec. But I like this segment. I like it a lot. I like the fact that we're going to get Mike Santana in NXT again next week.
This is just wild, too, the fact that he even is on NXT and everything like that. Because, obviously he had a chance to go there before and obviously didn't take it. Now, even though he's not signed there or anything like that, it's really cool that he's there. I really like this segment here. What made this segment kind of weird was he was very much talking about how much he believed in TNA and talked about everyone in the back. And it was kind of weird because it wasn't TNA's show that he was talking about. He was talking about it on NXT show. Everyone backstage at TNA, on NXT. So, but This is exactly like how you do someone else winning their promotion. I like that it was addressed the next episode of, like the first episode basically after, Battleground for each show. Trick's gonna be on TNA this week. It seems like I think this Trick TNA title one's gonna work out real well. I know some people are, like I said, unhappy about it, but I actually think this is gonna work out very well.
I agree. I think, although it was a controversial decision, I think if the work's put in, it can be really good for both brands. Like I said earlier, if this all ends in a double title match, and TNA gives Joe Hendry that opportunity to maybe win both belts, it says a lot about them willing to play nice with others nowadays.
Yeah, definitely.
Next, we had Jada Parker versus Tatum Paxley. All we really had that happen here that was a little interesting was Parker grabbed Paxley's doll of Gigi and threw it in the ring, and it distracted Tatum enough that Parker was able to take advantage and get the win. I thought it was interesting because I'm like, okay, so is Gigi gone, or what the hell's going on here? I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I didn't really like this match too much. I'm not a big Jada Parker fan.
I'm not either. She's an NXT superstar.
Yeah.
Not ready for a call-up. That's all I have to say.
Her theme music is really
Thea
bad.
Hale made an attack on Parker after the match. I like Thea Hale. I think she's always getting better. Next up, we had Jasper Troy versus Dante Chen. As per usual with most stuff that I don't like about NXT, Booker wouldn't shut the fuck up during this match.
Well, that's a student. That's a guy he coached the Promised Land. I mean, he's happy about that. So
yeah, but now knowing that I possibly have to listen to it every damn week that he wants to open his mouth, but whatever. What are you gonna do? But yeah, Jasper Troy picked up the match. Correct decision. Jasper Troy just won LFG. They should push him hard.
Yeah.
Finisher was the spinning sidewalk slam, which is pretty cool.
I don't know if Dante Chen was a good first opponent for him, though. I feel like he should have had someone that could have sold well for him.
And then Obafemi came out after the match and kind of gave him a warning that showdown's eventually going to happen.
I'm looking forward to this. I like the fact that they're going to throw him right at Oba right away because it's kind of weird. That was the big thing that like all the judges talked about like at the end of LFG. Like, okay, I wonder if Shawn was planning that then, so like they had them say that line. And
I think if one thing that the WWE should have learned from it's that what really hurt the initial NXT, like when it was a game show, is that we're like, if you're going to get a title match and they just flubbed it every time.
Yeah.
Every time. They messed it up.
I don't think he should beat Oba. I don't think he should beat Oba for the belt, though. I feel like it's too early for him. But I think him having a good performance against Oba will be good for him.
I agree. The one thing I do want to see coming to LFG into NXT, because we all know, these people aren't leaving WWE. They're all like the people who are on LFG were all people in the Performance Center. They basically took their top 8 Performance Center athletes and said, okay, everyone's basically getting the rocket strapped to them, but only one of you is going to get that extra boost to go right to NXT out of this.
Yeah, which I like.
I think eventually you'll see Bully Ray show up on NXT, and we all know how that's going to end with a certain someone from LFG.
If he's still, who knows how much longer he'll be there though. So, but we'll get to him when we review LFG.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this con. And if you think about it, this was because I know LFG. We saw the matches, but I think who knows? I don't know. I feel like some of the matches were probably edited because since it was Tate. This is like this is his first. Yeah. This is his first live match that Jasper Toys had really. So
Jasper's been great.
Yeah,
he has been. Next, we hear from Ethan Page. He says he's not going to wait for a celebration, but he's quickly interrupted by Javon Evans. And he says he thinks he deserves a shot. But then Ava comes out and reveals that the person she said he was going to have to defend against that Worlds Collide is Laredo Kid, AAA. Kid introduces himself, and then Paige is just getting all pissed off, saying that I don't want that to happen. And then Ava makes it clear that it's going to happen, and Javon's also going to be involved, but it ain't a triple threat. It's going to be a fatal four-way between Ethan Page, Javon Evans, Laredo Kid, and Ray Phoenix.
I'm looking forward to that.
And they all... And, yeah, that's how NXT ended. Let's move on. Nothing else happened.
There's more. Well, actually, you know what? The backstage, Stevie Turner's upset that, like, Shawn Legacy didn't get the title match. So, she says, like, he's going to get a one-on-one match. And then NXT ended.
Yeah.
Just a backstage segment like that with Shawn Legacy. So...
Yeah. Stephanie Vaquer had to defend the title against JC Jane. The match was not good, and as per usual, it was the same bullshit fatal influence rundown that caught her off guard. And yeah, JC Jane won the NXT Women's Championship. This is just a horrible, awful decision, in my opinion. JC Jane... It's not the fact that Stephanie lost the belt. I get it. So, talk about that right now. We've all heard the rumor Stephanie's getting called up to Raw. You know, I think that's definitely a good decision. I think based on her night after WrestleMania, the crowd was ready for it. She was ready for it, and the women's roster there ready to work with her.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing more to be said about that. But you have so many other people in NXT she could have dropped the belt to. Obviously, she didn't drop the belt to Jordan Grace because she's getting a call-up, so fair enough. But if you had to drop it to someone in Fatal Influence, I could have understood Fallon Henley.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I wouldn't have been happy with it. I could have understood Jasmine Nix even.
I don't know about that, actually. She doesn't do anything.
I think she's the middle of the bar there, but JC Jane is just... this is my opinion. I don't think she's a great wrestler. I despise her character. I don't like hearing her, and I was furious with this decision. Like, you've got to be actually shitting me. What an awful decision. You know, I don't care how good the rest of the show was. F. NXT gets an F. I'm not watching NXT until she drops the belt, unless one specific thing happens. That is rumored to be happening. I've been seeing a lot of things online that Mariah May, former AEW superstar, has signed with WWE and is expected to debut in NXT very, very soon. Hopefully this upcoming Tuesday, where she just drops the belt right away to Mariah. Yeah,
this was a really bad decision. Obviously, like, again...
Wait, yeah, I'm getting a telepathic message from Chris Dodd. He says it's actually an F- for him.
Wow. But yeah, this was a really bad decision. Stephanie Vaquer, yeah, if she's getting called up, she's probably dropped the belt. But the fact that they just threw a JC Jane out there, who's been pretty much a jobber, has really been very consequential to the shows, was a really terrible decision. And it's just absolutely dog shit.
Go on, let's hear it. Me and Chris are going F-. I know he is in my heart. NXT's getting an F-.
Yeah, I'll jump on with you. It really isn't an F-, but I'll jump on board. This is a really...
Realistically, if you want to grade, I'd say NXT was like a C-.
Sure, why not?
Just that main event drags it down so hard.
It was really,
not for nothing. Like, to let you know how much I really don't like JC Jane. You release Gigi Dolan and Cora Jade, but you keep JC Jane. Are you shitting me?
It's
like, did Sean find his old stash of coke from the 90s?
Actually, I did make this joke with Chris. Is Sean doing pills again? Because this is the only reason I can think of he's made this decision. Like,
Sean's lazy eyes taking over again. His lazy eyes makes him do bad things.
Maybe like his lazy eye took over. It was supposed to be Fallon Henley, and he thought JC Jane was Fallon Henley. Maybe trying to make sense of this.
Want to hear a joke?
Sure.
So bartenders work in a bar, 9-2. Horse walks in the bar. He goes, "There are no horses allowed here." He puts on his glasses. He goes, "Never mind, guys. It's just JC Jane."
Wow, you're gonna get some hate for that on the comments. I hope you're ready.
I don't care.
I hope you're ready for that. But yeah, I guess we have to move on. You know, that's not really a great way to end our show's discussion. You know, it's. I wonder if this is why NXT in Orlando got canceled. Sean Pitch, he was going to put the belt on JC, and Orlando's like, "Yeah, we're not putting this."
We're not doing that.
So he just said, "Okay, we'll do it in the Performance Center then." So, yeah. So, and everyone was shocked, and not in a good. I don't think, and not in a good way either. It was like, what was this? Worse than Jinder Mahal when he won the belt out of nowhere, because at least Jinder had like 3 weeks of build. This just happened. So,
at least Jinder could wrestle and talk.
I don't know about Vessel, but talk, yes. So
I didn't say he could wrestle amazing, but he could get the job done.
he could get the job done, yeah. You know, but we've had other things. Well, before that, I did kind of tell Steve we would go over the cards, because the pay-per-view cards are starting to be made official for Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank. So we'll do Worlds Collide first, since that's going to happen first. Worlds Collide is being done kind of weird, but I don't really hate it. But it's not going to be on Peacock. It's going to be on YouTube. Not really sure why that's the case, but that's just the way they're doing it. So,
not for nothing, missed opportunity that they're not using the old SmackDown versus Raw when Worlds Collide as the theme song.
Yeah, that would be cool. But yeah, this is shaping up to be quite a nice little pay-per-view / PLE right here. You know, we have Legado del Fantasma. They're going to take on El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, and Psycho Clown. I'm looking forward to this. Psycho Clown, I think, is going to transition very well into WWE. I think he'll be really good for the kids and everything like that. Obviously, this will continue in the fall of Legado with Angel not really wanting to be a part of the group anymore. No, not Angel, Berto not wanting to be a part of the group anymore. So
yeah, you'll see the implosion at Worlds Collide, I bet.
And then, you know, we have Chad Gable versus El Hijo del Vikingo.
And it's for the AAA Mega Championship, which El Hijo del Vikingo doesn't have.
So I don't know how they're going to do that.
Alberto del Patron is the current champion. So I was like, seeing that, I'm looking everywhere. It's official. I'm like, so it took me a bit. I'm like, damn. Like, I was certain that there was bad blood between Del Rio and WWE still, but I mean, to spoil the fact you're gonna drop the belts,
Yep.
is basically just a huge FU to him. They don't care for him whatsoever. But hey, fair enough.
I can't blame him. Yeah, I've never been a big Del Rio fan, anyways. So
no, I'm not. After everything he's done, fuck him.
Yeah.
Ethan Page versus Javon Evans, Laredo Kid, and Ray Phoenix. The Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah, that Fatal 4-Way will be really excellent. So
nope, WWE owns AAA. I don't see any reason Laredo Kid can't win the match.
I don't see any reason either. But we'll see.
Maybe that's why they had Ricky Saints lose it, so Ethan can just transition for Laredo.
And then, you know, we have Steffi Vacchio and Lola Vice versus Chick, Tormenta, and Delise. I don't know how to say the last name, but
I don't know either. I saw a lot of comments that I'm not going to repeat because I can make jokes about JC Jane all night, but some of the comments on those two that I see are like,
yeah,
I can't say that.
I can't really say if this match will be good or not because I've never seen the other two wrestle. I've seen Stephanie Vacchio and Lola Vice wrestle, so I think that, you know. And then we have a match
Lola
I didn't even know.
For NXT champion.
Huh?
Lola Vice for NXT Women's Champion.
That would be better, yeah. And then
no, sorry. Make it happen, Hunter. Tell Sean he has to do it.
And then we have.
Wait, no, they're friends. Give me a sec. Make it happen, Rock. Tell Triple H that he has to tell Sean to do it.
Then we have a match I didn't even know about until I just went on here. It's
the LWO
versus Octagon Jr., Aerostar, and Mr. Iguana. I think that would be good. I don't know if you know the AAA guys, but you know, it will be a fun.
I'm familiar with them.
I'll be fun in 6-man. So
I will say right now though, there is a I don't like Rey Fenix being in the NXT North American Championship match because this was your perfect opportunity to finally do the Lucha Bros, and they just didn't.
I can see that. So,
it's obviously because Penta's in the Money in the Bank, but yeah, if that makes me think he's going to win because I'm trying to justify it. I'm probably wrong, but the hell with it, I'll run with it anyway. My thought is, okay, if you're really not going to do it when you have this perfect opportunity, it's because he's winning the Money in the Bank briefcase.
I would hope so. Then the Money in the Bank card real quick, and then we'll cover the other stuff. Again, the briefcase matches. The men's one is Solo Sikoa versus LA Knight versus Penta versus Seth Rollins versus two guys to be determined. Obviously, we know the SmackDown triple threat.
Yeah, one of them could, for all we know, be the wrestling thug Brad Maddox, actually.
Very well. Again, to be determined, card subject to change. So, and then, we have the women's one. It's Alexa Bliss versus Roxanne Perez versus Rhea Ripley versus Julia versus two wrestlers to be determined. We know on SmackDown we're getting a triple threat with Naomi, Jade Cargill, and Nia Jax. That will be interesting. That's very unpredictable. Who could win that?
I really hope it's not Naomi. I'm not a Naomi person at all.
Oh, I actually never knew that, actually. So
I just don't think she's world championship material. I just don't back her at all. But unfortunately, I think she is probably going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase altogether.
I actually think it's going to be Nia Jax that wins this. I think Naomi and Jade are going to cancel each other out. So, and she'll be in the match. Not with the briefcase, but be in the match.
Even worse.
Well, that's what happens when you have two feuds going at once, It's just like, it's going to cancel each other out, so...
Screw it, can't we just throw unless it's going to be Jade Cargill, can't we just throw the wrestling thug in that match?
You can't win. The men's guy can't win the women's Money in the Bank briefcase.
He can steal anything, so have him steal Nia Jax and just run. Run as far
I don't think
as
he can. I don't even think he. I don't think he's going to...
He can do anything.
He can't get that far. But then we have that tag match. It's Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso versus John Cena and Logan Paul. Looking forward to that. And then,
I wanted to talk about that one. We'll talk about that after we finish the card, though.
And then we have the last chance match for the Women's Intercontinental title. If Lyra loses, she will be forced to raise Becky's hand and recognize her as the better woman, is what Wikipedia says here. It's Lyra defending against Becky Lynch. Again, I feel like we talked about that. I don't think that's... I feel like Lyra's not going to... will raise her hand, but not mean it. So, yeah, I want to do...
I think... But yeah, for the Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes versus Cena and Logan Paul match, I read a bunch of places. They're saying, like, yes, Travis Scott was initially supposed to be the tag partner there, but he backed out for whatever reason.
Yeah, that trio that was all a part of Cena's heel turn has just been less and less showcased. We had The Rock, who just hasn't been there, and then Travis Scott.
Yeah, that's another reason this whole heel turn has been trash. Is because right from the beginning is where all the issues started. Yeah. They didn't plan on it being Cena. They wanted it to be Cody in the first place, but the company said no. And then...
Which I can't blame him for saying no. There was really no reason for Cody to turn at that point. So...
Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like that's the long-term plan. It's fine. But I think it'll have to be over the course of the year, maybe... Because my whole thought process right now is Cena really just done? Because not for nothing, like, if he's going to stay heel the whole time, if he does, it's really not grandiose for how to end your career. And I was saying in my head, like, they could do something where he turns, like he stays heel the entire time and Cody finally joins The Rock at the very end and they just brutalize him to the point where, everyone has this idea in their mind that Cena's going to leave and we're all going to chant, "Thank you, Cena," but instead... they go over the top where he actually gets stretchered out of his last match. And, they start chanting, "Thank you, Cena," and Cody takes the mic, like, "I'm not going to give you that chance. Blast my music at full volume."
That'd be interesting, yeah.
And they just, they blast his music. He's like banging microphones together to get that high screeching sound so no one can hear anyone saying it. And they're going absolutely berserk, making sure the crowd doesn't get it. And then the night after, you had to do something where, like, here's the thing. I didn't sell out. And The Rock's like, he didn't. I bought in. Cody said, if I sell out, not for nothing, I'm just like everyone else. That's why I didn't do it. And The Rock's like, okay. I mean, I've only ever wanted it to be you. Cena wasn't my first choice. Everyone knows that. So I made a deal. I said, let's see eye to eye, and I'm going to buy into you. So then you have it be that it's actually Cody that's driving the whole heel turn, not The Rock.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And Cody's like, I did it because you guys decided to cheer him at WrestleMania instead of me. I did everything right. So if I do everything wrong, then I'm still the good guy, though, according to you guys.
There you go.
And you have Cody just become completely unhinged.
That'd be cool. Because everyone wants that Homelander gimmick to happen. I feel like that's not even Homelander gimmick stuff. That's like, I don't even know what that is. So it's like,
oh no, it would be absolutely Homelander, where he's the good guy and it's never good enough for the people. So eventually he's like, whatever.
Yeah.
But more than that, what you do eventually is, because 2027. 2 years from now is going to be the 25th anniversary of John Cena as a wrestler. Since he debuted 2002 on SmackDown. No, yeah, he was in OVW, but at the end of the day, no one gives a shit. Sorry.
It was the prototype. It was the prototype too, not John Cena.
Some people do. But no, I think the way you do it is you have like Pat McAfee in like June of 2026 be like, yeah, I'm going to have Cena on here for the first time since his loss in Boston. He's going to talk about that and how in 1 year it's going to be his 25th anniversary. And instead of, the suit and tie, tied it up Cena, we get shaggy hair, red circles under his eyes, hasn't shaved, just looks like crap, and no confidence. So like, I'm doing whatever, just half-assed answers. And like, there's rumors that Triple H is going to be on it, and I was like, oh, he's going to offer him the Hall of Fame. And he shows up, and Cena's like, oh, do you have something to tell me? He's like, yeah, no, no, nope, I don't have anything to offer you. I don't think. He's like, and Cena's like, no, you're going to offer me the Hall of Fame. He's like, yeah, I don't think you're ready for that, John. Sorry. And then Cody comes out about it like the next night on Raw. He's laughing about it, like, oh, did you see that joke? Like, that's the guy I beat. I did that to your hero. But hey, that's not my fault. That's your fault because you put him there. You put him on the pedestal. I'm just the guy that grabbed his feet and threw his ass over. and you just add on to Cody being a jerk. And we'll do a whole long haul detail version of it. But the way it ends up going is Cody's talking about how Cena ruined wrestling for a year, so now he has to save it. And because people keep booing him, he's like, I need an environment where I'm going to get what I deserve. So we're going to bring back the Thunderdome. They actually do it. They actually book an arena and it's empty. And like, when he comes out on Netflix, you hear the forced piped in cheers. He goes, you hear it? I heard it in my head. Like, he's going psycho mode now. He goes, I heard it in my head. I'm getting cheered. I'm finally getting what I deserve. But don't worry, I'm gonna give you guys what you want. I invited Cena here tonight, and Cena comes out. He's like, dude, you've ruined everything. He's like, no, I saved wrestling. Or did I just prove that I can do anything you can do better? Like, ruin wrestling, John. And then he finally reveals like his whole plan was actually to ruin wrestling because he just hates Cena that much. He hates the fans that much. And that's like the final comeuppance of Cody going berserk. It's crazy when you think about it. Like, that'd be some wild shit for them to pull off.
It really would be.
Like, actually bring the Thunderdome back.
No one wants the Thunderdome to come back either. Like,
and like you have like The Rock and Cody be like, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be wonderful. And the whole time Cody's like, and you know what the best part is I can say whatever I want to, and you're not going to do a damn thing because you have to honor your retirement clause. And then what you finally do is Cena says he's going to come out on SmackDown. He comes out, he basically gives this whole heartfelt apology where he's finally apologizing for the heel run. He's like, but I have to honor my commitment. I can't stop Cody. Sorry. Undertaker comes out. He goes,
he's going to stop him?
Nope. Undertaker comes out and goes, I was going to retire after WrestleMania 27. And then Triple H kicked my ass and I got stretchered out. And that's what I said. I don't give a damn about what I said. I'm coming back because that's not going to be my lasting image. I was going to leave after I lost the streak, but then I thought, you know what? Everyone heard about what happened, the fact that I got concussed. They saw the lasting image of me after the fact, me crawling on my hands and knees backstage. I said that's not going to be my lasting image. And so I felt like, John, there are things in wrestling more important than honoring your word. Because right now, your legacy is shit. He calls him out and says, you don't have to stop wrestling because you said you were. You could do one more. And then do something where, like, Elimination Chamber, kind of like what Shawn Michaels did to The Undertaker, ironically. Cena sneaks in the chamber, costs Cody the title to whomever.
Yeah, you have to find out who that would be.
And then Cody's like, fine, one more match. You and me, WrestleMania in 2027. And like this is like have him go full psycho mode. Like this time, I'm not gonna put you down for the 1, 2, 3. This time, I'm gonna put you down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 feet under.
Buried alive
like,
match.
No, just tell him he's gonna kill him. Like, I'm gonna destroy you in this match. And then you have Cena finally win his last match at WrestleMania, and then hopefully by this point we get a SummerSlam at Gillette Stadium.
That'd be nice.
And then that's when you say, hey, guess what? SummerSlam weekend, we're going to do something that's never been done before. You get your own Hall of Fame ceremony.
That'd be cool.
For your 25th anniversary and for your official retirement.
Well, Andre got his own. Andre the Giant.
Yeah, that's true.
So
you'd be like, you're the first person since Andre to get their own Hall of Fame ceremony, but, you're going to get like a whole night of it, basically.
That'd be cool.
I would even do something like SummerSlam Night 1 on a Friday.
Yeah.
John Cena Hall of Fame induction ceremony on a Saturday, and then SummerSlam Night 2 on Sunday, so it's spaced out, actually.
Yeah, I would like that. But yeah, we have some other things we're going to talk about. There's been other things going on in WWE that isn't related to anything I want to make sure we mention. The Wyatt Six are back.
Yes.
On SmackDown last week, it ended the show. It was Fraxium versus the Street Profits for the WWE Tag Team Championships. And, the match is going relatively fine, but then DIY came out and interfered, and it led to all the tag teams getting into a brawl, like Motor City and DIY and Street Profits and Fraxium. And then the Wyatt Six returned. And this was really cool. We haven't seen the Wyatt Six in a while. Overall, I think that's been relatively good. I really liked the return. Obviously, I wonder where they've been, because obviously they were gone for so long. And it was cool because it happened on Bray Wyatt's birthday. And they did like a thing where they put a birthday cake down and everything like that. So I think they're going to be a really good force for the tag division. I think that just, elevates the tag division even more on SmackDown. If I imagine the team, that's probably going to be... it's probably because they worked really well together when they've teamed. I think it's going to be Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy that are the tag team for the group because they worked really well together. But how do you feel about the Wyatt Six being back? I like it.
I was ecstatic to see the Wyatt Six come back. I was so happy when to see everyone back because I remember watching the match, kept thinking in the back of my head because I knew it was Bray's birthday. Either that day or recently, I was like, where the fuck are the Wyatt Six? Like, are they still injured or whatever happened to them?
Mm-hmm.
Or are we really just going to go the Bray Wyatt road if we don't know what to do, so we're going to do nothing? But nope, thankfully they came back. I'm hoping we get to see more promos the way that they've been cutting. I like the way that, because they haven't really cut a promo in front of a crowd yet. It's all been the backstage stuff, I think, right?
Yeah, it has.
So I'd like it if, like, when they cut a promo, they actually come out as, like, who they are. It's just Bo Dallas, Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy. And, like, everyone gets caught off guard because they hell for the hell of it. Like, they all come out, like, suit and tie. Like, super formal, like, maybe all black just to keep that the mystique around them. And, be like, I come out here every week and I honor Bray because that's who I am. When I want to talk to you guys on the mic, I want to be me. But just understand, when I get the ring, that's when the other guy comes out. And then you see, like, Rowan and Cross and all them be like, yep, same thing for us.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We're who we are on the microphone, but we're in the ring, it changes. It snaps.
But I'm happy the Wyatt Six are back. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Obviously, the storyline was supposed to probably be well in advance, but it'll be interesting to see, like, kind of where it goes from there. Other thing that's been going on, Rusev, I because we kind of glossed over it, but I want to talk about how good he's been doing since he's been back. Obviously, he's still kind of trying to find himself. He kind of just been destroying Alpha Academy at the moment, but now he's going to get into a nice feud with some substance with Sheamus. I like that they just basically transferred his AEW, like, the TNT champion gimmick and just brought it to WWE. And his whole gimmick is that he just wants to fix people that need to be fixed. It's really tough to say he's been successful because we haven't seen Otis or Tozawa since Rusev destroyed them, so it'll be interesting. But
now we're probably getting a Money in the Bank matchup between Rusev and Sheamus, which will be nice.
Yeah, how do you
Someone
feel?
actually get from Elevation.
How do you feel about Rusev's return so far? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up so far. He doesn't need to rush into anything. This can be a crawl, walk, run if it needs to be.
And the same thing, Aleister Black, came back the same time. He's done very well so far. He's in a feud with the Mellow Miz at the moment. He failed his Money in the Bank qualifier, but he didn't take the pin, which was good for him.
Yep.
Overall, I feel like Aleister Black has been very successful. I think more so than Rusev, but it feels like Rusev they're doing slower because Aleister Black's been more active, so he's more memorable at the moment. He's been on TV. He was on TV like pretty recently and stuff, whereas Rusev was on TV. Well, he was gone for a while before he just came back in WWE. So it could be the fans have to remember him type of thing. But how do you feel about how Aleister Black is doing right now since he's been back?
I've loved watching Aleister Black since he came back. I missed him a lot. I think AEW really dropped the ball, not pushing him to the top. And him being in House of Black was fine, but from day one, they just never felt like a real main event level threat, and they easily could have.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really good.
I think that's it. I think that's everything that it's really big and everything like that. So let's get to some news that I want to make sure we talk about is WrestleMania 42 has been moved since we last did this show. WrestleMania 42 was supposed to take place in New Orleans. The Rock came out when he came out to ask Cody if he could take his soul, and that was like the first thing he talked about. And that's not the case anymore. I haven't been able to read up too much on this because it's just been busy. Do you know the reason? Because there's like several reasons people have reported out about why WrestleMania 42 was moved.
I've heard a number of things going around as to the why, and ultimately what it's kind of boiled down to is, I guess, we don't know yet. No one knows for certain what happened. I've seen a lot of different reasons out there. A lot sound good, a lot sound bad. I think people are just guessing at this point. I'm sure we'll eventually figure it out, but it's probably going to be very long after this fact. I guess we can give our opinions rather than any facts, because all opinion in this is based on facts. I know Triple H said in a interview after WrestleMania 41 weekend that they made way more money than they ever thought they were going to at Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
That it was the most financially successful WrestleMania of all time, even with older WrestleManias being adjusted for inflation.
That's insane.
Actually, they did a great job. He says he definitely wants to come back to Vegas sooner rather than later. I've seen a popular theory that someone just offered them enough more than whatever New Orleans was going to pay them to host that they had to jump at the opportunity. Now, obviously, they already announced for New Orleans, like, hey, don't worry, we're going to do Money in the Bank next year, but they're doing it in August, which is different.
Yeah, that's different, yeah.
I'm almost getting to the point where, like, not for nothing, SummerSlam's getting bent over and behind. It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like Clash and wherever being right after it because it gives them an excuse not to make SummerSlam big. I don't like this idea that now Money in the Bank's going to be right there too. Kind of at the point now where I want them to go back to Money in the Bank's initial format where it wasn't a pay-per-view, it was just a match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, me too.
I think you space them out. I think you do. I'm okay with Evolution coming back. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I like that.
I think you need to maybe do the women's Money in the Bank at Evolution every year.
That'd be nice.
And then maybe SummerSlam can host the men's Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
And not for nothing, make Evolution that weekend's NXT pay-per-view. Now, obviously, it's not just going to be NXT. It's WWE NXT Evolution.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do that on Saturday, and then SummerSlam gets 2-day weekend.
So there you go.
But, yeah, there it is. But, yeah, and we've seen some rumors about where WrestleMania 42 is going to be. I've seen a lot of people say Saudi Arabia and England. I think Saudi Arabia is just people bandwagoning who don't like the fact that they go there. I'm almost positive they have a date that they gave Saudi Arabia back in 2017, 2019 when this whole thing started. They said, hey, we have 2017 the deal started, right?
2018, because the Greatest Royal Rumble. Well, actually, I think it was 2017 because they did a house show in 2017. So
right. So they probably said, this 10-year deal we signed, at the end of it, you get WrestleMania. If all works out. Which it has. So I think 2027 is when you're going to see WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. Oh, damn, I just realized that storyline I wrote for Cena means he'd end up in Saudi.
His last match would be in Saudi.
You can't give the Saudi government anything more than that at that point. They wanted Andre the Giant, and we'll settle for Cena's real last match. Whatever. It's fine.
I still remember when they asked for like Yokozuna and they sent like a sumo wrestler out there that like looked like Yokozuna or whatever. Like,
yeah. And then like I guess the prince knew it wasn't him, and Vince was like, "Okay, that's not him, but you don't know Yokozuna's fucking dead." I don't think it's going to go to Saudi Arabia next year. I don't think it's going to go to England because at the end of the day, WWE is a U.S.-based production all in all. That's going to be something that's going to take them a good while to really put together.
Yeah. But we'll see.
I think they're going to go right back to Vegas.
I definitely want to go to WrestleMania next year no matter where it is because it's my 30th. That'll be something big to do. So,
yeah.
I mean, if it's in Vegas, I doubt you want to go again because you just did it last year.
No, I'll go to Vegas again. You don't have to tell me twice.
Okay. I just figured you were just there last year. Wouldn't have been much of a difference for you, but okay. So,
I won't say I'm a master at not losing, but I'll say I'm better at not losing. Fucking card games suck.
Yeah. But I think that's everything main roster-wise and related. Kind of going back, we're going to talk about some Evolve things, because Evolve's been... have you watched Evolve at all since it started? Or has it just been there and you just talk?
It's been there.
But I've watched Evolve a few times. It's been pretty decent. It's pretty much... it's the new developmental now for NXT, because obviously NXT is big enough now where they're not really considered developmental. It's still in that line, but Evolve's definitely the more so the developmental brand. We've had some things happen on Evolve. We had the first women's champion get crowned on Evolved. They had a 4-way elimination match last night between Kylie Ray, Wendy Chu, Kendall Gray, and Callie Armstrong, which was very good. And Callie Armstrong won and became the first ever women's Evolve champion. She's in the NIL program. She's been very dominant in Evolve right now. It came down to Kylie Ray and Callie Armstrong, and Callie Armstrong won. I imagine they probably are going to give Kylie Ray the Evolve Women's title. They just want to build an all natural story behind it. I don't know the gap, too, because the WWE ID wrestlers aren't really signed to WWE, so I don't know if they feel iffy about giving someone that's not really signed like a championship and everything like that. Because
my understanding of those contracts is it's all a lot of short-term deals. And when I say short-term, I mean like no more than a month. Yeah.
So, but we have the women's one get crowned. The men's one's getting crowned next week. It's going to be between Sean Legacy, Keanu Kava, Idris Enofe, and Jameson Drake. I forget his name, but it's he's in Swipe Right, and that's gonna be another Fatal 4-Way elimination match. I imagine they're gonna give the win to Shawn Legacy because he's been showcased a lot in NXT, and it only makes sense to give him the win.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Other things on Evolve is we've had some LFG talent signed to Evolve. Troy Yearwood's on Evolve now. He's getting into a program right now. And Lee Laurel as June Lee, I think her name is. I could be completely wrong. But yeah, it's... I'm liking Evolve so far. It's a decent developmental. I like that we're seeing the mixture more so now of the NIL program and the WWE ID program. And it's just been very pretty exciting so far. Evolve's not like awesome. There's definitely things that could be done better with it, but it's decent. Like the tape schedule's messed up because Gallus, Javier Bernal, and all these people are still there, and they've been like released. So it's like, it's
awkward.
Huh?
It's awkward because it's weird how all the things line up.
Because they just started a storyline with like Javier Bernal, and like it's not gonna play, and it's gonna be over pretty soon because he got the boot. So
exactly.
And then they're continuing the WWE ID Championship crowning during WrestleMania weekend. They had GCW hosted a couple of shows to crown the first WWE ID champion. They're doing some elimination tournaments. The women's one is round robin, and the men's one is double elimination. The next batch of shows is going to be June 10th, where they're going to just continue the tournament for the men's side and the women's side of things. And this is kind of cool with the WWE ID Championship because if you win that belt and you're not signed to WWE, you'll pretty much be signed to the WWE ID program. I did make this joke. It'll be funny if a botch happens and someone wins the ID Championship by accident and they have to give them a contract. Like I wonder if they'll just take the belt wide off them right away, or like just not give them a contract. I wonder what would happen. So, anything? I know you're kind of out of the loop. Anything you want to say about any of the stuff I just talked about? You have nothing. So. Yeah, that's nothing. So,
nada. Goose egg.
Hey, at least I'm not watching Speed or Main Event as much anymore. That's
true.
So,
the only thing that was quick about Speed is how quick everyone stopped watching it.
Yeah, no one watches it at all anymore. So,
Nope.
But yeah, anything else you want to talk about when it comes to WWE? Anything like that? Anything?
Nope. I don't know what I'm going to do on my Tuesdays between 8 and 10 anymore, but I tell you what I'm not going to be doing.
Yeah, watching NXT.
Not until that belt is off of She Who Shall Not Be Named anymore.
And you don't have AEW Dark to keep you occupied anymore either, so it's like...
I go back on my word watching NXT before I watch AEW Dark.
It's not even a thing anymore, so that's...
Nope.
So...
Nope. I think the only thing I have to say as it pertains to some of those releases mentioned, though, is I mentioned it earlier. I think they fumbled really bad releasing two people in particular, that being Gigi Dolan and Cora Jade.
Well, it's kind of tough about Cora Jade, though, because I thought her in-ring work was kind of aggressive, and she was getting kind of injury prone and everything like that.
Yeah, she was injury prone, but like she was finally on kind of a good thing where she was all right. She's not hurt right now. She's doing a lot.
Yeah, that's a pretty big fumble. Maybe, Cora Jade has to, because it seemed like Cora Jade really wasn't into the business anymore. So maybe she needs to have this release happen and kind of say like, hey, like, do I still want to wrestle and everything like that type of thing. It'll be interesting to see what Cora Jade does. I feel like her going to TNA would be cool, which would be tough because she was just in TNA. So, like, I wonder if they'll just say she's been there before, because she won't be Cora Jade when she goes there. She'll be Elena Black. So I wonder how that's going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
maybe she goes to TNA, rejuvenates herself, and then with this partnership actually does win the NXT championship.
Yeah.
Hopefully from anybody but someone.
By the way, because of this partnership, I know WWE does no compete clause. Can you technically wrestle in TNA if WWE's partnered with them, or do you think it's still like no?
I think so. I think at the end of the day, it's a TNA contracted wrestler is a TNA contracted wrestler. I'm sure there's some extra measures that have been added in for Trick Williams, just as protocol and whatnot. But a TNA wrestler is a TNA wrestler, and a WWE wrestler is a WWE wrestler. At the end of the day,
I mean, Trick Williams ain't backing down from any average Joe. So
nope, they don't. They do not own them.
So there you go. But yeah, let's end this video off. Is there anything you want to plug or promote before we end this off?
Don't watch NXT.
Until JC loses the belt, right?
Yep.
That could be tonight. Actually, she could use it. She could lose it at a house. She could lose it on the house shows this weekend because they're doing them house shows. So
yes. Yeah, some man dressed as a woman's going to enter the ring and beat her. Then he's going to take off the wig, and it's going to be the man himself, the wrestling thug, Brad Maddox.
Oh, I think I'd say Stevie Richards because he did that gimmick when. And
hey, he'll show you. You'll see.
Yes, he will. But yeah, just check out on the Talkinator channel for some stuff. Check out this channel for wrestling content and everything like that. LFG review hopefully next week with Steve and I, if we can get that done. Make sure you watch season 1 before we brush up on it type of thing. So
I'm gonna brush up on it all just so I can talk for an hour about BJ Ray and Bully Ray.
I feel like I should leave that segment just for you to talk about it and everything like that.
I'll just give you guys this right now. I don't buy that those two aren't. I think the whole thing is a shoot. Sorry, work. My bad. I think the whole thing's a work. I think at first I'm sure there might have been a little tension, maybe legitimately, and then Bully took him aside, brushed it up, and just explained himself to him. And they're like, "What if we didn't tell anyone? And I'm just a jackass to you the entire time, but you're kind of a jackass back to me, so." No one's really right here. It's just entertainment.
Yeah, that'd be
sure. Bully right. Bully probably. Yeah, that's not a bad idea because he had every opportunity to eliminate him earlier than he could have, and he didn't.
Well, he did get injured, so
it's true.
So, do you think he comes back for season 2 when they do it? DJ Way.
I don't know. BJ is gonna go to NXT. I think.
We'll see what happens, but yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video, and we will talk to you guys later.